Sorry, my microphone was off. Let me say that again. Hi everyone, how have you all been? It's always nice to see you guys chatting with each other in the chat. As I'm setting everything up, I was thinking something seemed off when I was looking at myself on the stream. I was like, something doesn't seem right, and I was like, oh yes, my studio lights, they're not on they're not on. So yeah, I just turned them on. It'll be a lot more clearer when you see me now. Hopefully I won't look as depressed as I did the last time, because when the lights are off, it is shocking, I'll show you. It is shocking how much more down and depressed I look. This is what it looks like when there's no studio lights. It does actually look quite depressing, actually, when I see them on and off. So let's just put them back on. There you go. But one on from both sides. These are the same studio lights that I used to use when I used to do technology reviews on this channel. So these lights, I don't use them for that anymore, but they very much come in handy. And I will use it more when you see my Patreon videos. My game show, for example, you'll be seeing these studio lights used a lot then, except it'll be on my desk down here. Also got myself some tea this time, so this will hopefully be kinder on the lungs. Jake De Bruin. Oh, it's good to see you on the stream. You said last time you weren't able to come. I'm glad you were able to come in. He says, see any good movies recently? Not very much recently. I've been so busy. I've been working on my Spider-Man Versus video for the 2 games, which, let me tell you, I keep telling you guys this, but game versus videos are so hard and tricky to make, and they take a long time as well. You going through a bunch of video game footage, it's quite a hassle to do. But it's worth it in the end. And I did take a pause from the Spider-Man Versus video so I could start working on my Christmas special video, which hopefully I have a very good feeling it will come out this month in time for Christmas. And I also recorded myself watching that Christmas movie for the very first time, so I could put it on my Patreon as part of my Let's Watch show, so you'll be able to see me watch the movie and also take notes on my phone. So you got a bit of a behind the scenes look at that, and that video will come out. I've already finished editing it. It should come out on Christmas Day is my idea for it to come out. Maybe even a day or 2 earlier, but... So yeah, you're gonna get some good... You patrons will eat well on Christmas, kind of like how you did when I did some Halloween specials too. But no, Jake, I've not seen any good movies recently. I was thinking of watching Blue Beetle so I could review it on the live stream, but I got too busy, I didn't have time to watch it. Especially today, with all the stuff I've been doing. I've pretty much completed the script for my new Versus video. I've just got to see one more movie, because it's going to be a 3-way Versus video. That's all I'll say for the Christmas special. I don't know if I've said it to you already. I don't think I have. But it'll be a 3-way Versus video as for the Christmas special that I'm planning on doing. And yes, I've been, in response to your other question, Jake, how's my day been? It's been very good, but very busy. I've been working on that script. I've got to see one more movie for that Versus video, and then the script should be in very good standing and I can start reading it. And once I start reading it, I can, start editing it, and hopefully it will come out. I can see some of you, well, Jake, I can see you guessing. I'm not going to give you the answer. I just said it will be a 3-way Versus video, but that's about it. People have been asking me for a lot of videos. Grinch is one of them, but Home Alone, people have been asking me to do Versus videos on as well. And the first 3 Home Alones, I'll give you a little clue. The first 3 Home Alones, they actually were theatrically released in theaters. It was the 4th one that wasn't. And we all know what Home Sweet Home Alone did, don't we? Oh, hi, Tommy Wiseau, with that post down there. One of you earlier said that my hair looks different. It kind of does, doesn't it? My beard is different. I got it trimmed and shaped, so yeah, that's different. But not so much my head, but it does look a bit different, doesn't it? I was wearing a hat earlier, and that hat does seem to annoyingly move my hair around, so it looks like it did this time. And we've already got our first super chat from the Time Shadow. Where's my pen? See what happens. It's just when you think you've got everything prepared, sometimes you still miss things, and I missed my pen this live stream. Give me a second, let me write this down. 5, 7. Alright, it's a £2 super chat using the currency that I use. Damn it, I need to get a notebook. I think that would be much more effective than what I'm doing. So, yeah, let's write that down. A £2 super chat from the Time Shadow. Just for fun, how about Venom versus Morbius? Ew, that's all kinds of nasty, that is. That is one of the... That is not a fun versus video. Probably for you guys. That would not be a fun versus video for me. Because it means I would have to rewatch Venom. And most importantly, I would have to rewatch Morbius again. Then again, I did watch The Marvels. Can it get... Well, yes, it can. Oh, who am I kidding? If I had to pick which movie was worse, I would probably... The more I think about it, I don't know what answer I've given before, if I was even asked this before. But I might think Morbius is probably the worst movie. So, yeah. Thanks, The Time Shadow. It says here that this is your... Oh, the third super on a live stream. Your third super chat on a live stream. Thank you very much. It's giving you a little celebratory little thing here. It has a little notification. Alright, so... You guys all know the drill, as always. When it comes to the stories I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to be focusing on them, but I'm going to be glancing at the live stream. So I'm going to be looking at the chat and glancing at what you guys are talking about. But if it comes to any questions, as always, the only questions I will immediately answer during the stream is going to be super chats. But any other questions, you're going to have to wait until the Q&A section, and then I will answer those. This helps me stay focused on the stories that I'm talking about. Otherwise, I've got 3 things to focus on. The story, the super chats, and the questions in the Q&A, in the chat. So, 2 things to focus on, usually I feel like is a better balance when it comes to doing these live streams. And there was one of you that said you might not be here for long. Where was it? Miles Adair says, "Hey Eric, I'm on my way to see Godzilla -1 for the 2nd time." That's 2 times more than I've seen it. And it says, so you won't be around the stream very long. That's alright, I hope you enjoy it. This stream, I don't know how long it'll be, because I always tend to talk to you guys, and they tend to go on way longer than they're supposed to, but it's because I always have a lot of fun talking to you guys, and you all have a lot of interesting questions to ask me. But yeah, if you're... The movie, I can't remember how long it was it 2 hours or something? Who knows, if this is another fun stream, you might end up coming back and seeing me still here, so... So, yeah, you might still be able to catch me on the stream. And if not, we'll catch you on the next live stream, it's alright. Hey Eric, have you watched the Game Awards? I've actually not watched the Game Awards, but I've heard that developers are not happy with it, because apparently they spent a lot of time trying to, like, shrink the amount of time the game developers had, and instead wanted to prioritize celebrities and adverts. And I hear that's something that they're not happy with when it comes to the Game Awards. So, yeah. Elite has done a super chat here. A $2 super chat. And he says, will you be watching the Wonka remake? No, not really. Like I said, I know what videos I'm supposed to be focusing on this month. Aquaman 1 versus 2 is a versus video that I really wanted to do, but it looks like I'm not going to be able to do it because something has to, something has to give on my schedule, and that's what I'm making give. If I do this, I'm just not going to have time to. It's like I would rather cover Aquaman 1 and 2 than do the Wonka remake, because it doesn't seem like a movie that I would be interested in, to be perfectly honest with you. So, probably not. Spider-Man 2 got robbed? Yes, I did hear that Spider-Man 2 got robbed. Not good. Anyway, let's see here. So, guys, we're going to be talking about the first story. And let me just set this all up. Just like I said, remember, if there's any questions you want me to answer immediately, you place them in the super chats. If there are any other questions you want to ask and you don't want to put them in the super chats, then don't worry, we'll answer those after I've finished all these stories. So, let's get on to the first story. And I don't know if you can hear behind me, there's a lot of rain, which has all of a sudden decided to just stop pounding on the window. So, if you hear any background noise, that's what it is. So, let's get my notes up. I'm just going to say that the movie news has been very slow of late. So I wanted to... I was struggling to find news to talk about. There was other stuff that I was hoping would come out, some news that has been leaked, like the Fantastic Four casting for some of the actors. I was hoping they would officially announce that. None of that yet, so I'm waiting on that news. So hence there's been a bit of a slowdown. So I'm going to be talking about these stories, and the first one is Ryan Reynolds and his plea to tell people to stop spoiling Deadpool 3. Now, as the title says here, this is a Variety article that says Ryan Reynolds calls out Deadpool 3 set photo leaks and asks websites to hold back showing images before they're ready. So, yeah, we were getting all these leaks for Deadpool 3 which hit the internet, and apparently Ryan Reynolds has seen them and is not happy with it. So, that is very, very interesting. Bear with me a second here. So yeah, Ryan Reynolds does not seem to be happy with that. And he gave a nice message out on his Instagram, which I've got right here, and I'll read it out. He's got a very nice message over here, and looks like Jake has entered the chat in the way that we on the channel know him to enter the chat. Jake, dude, seriously, what this is... Let me just get rid of that. Let's rewind a little. This is... You're too kind to me on these live streams. Like, out of all my live streams, it's like every single time you've been donating these big amounts. Dude, I feel like I should give you some kind of award on this stream. Seriously, this is helping out in a huge way. I keep saying that, but it's true. It really does help out in a huge way. So, thank you very much for that very, very generous $70 super chat donation. Seriously, thank you very much. So, let's read your questions. How about Despicable Me versus Megamind? That is actually a good idea, although I can't remember seeing Despicable Me 1 properly, so it would be good to revisit that. And Megamind, I did like that movie. I love the twist that happened later on. It was kind of predictable, but I kind of thought the movie wasn't smart enough to do it, so I thought the twist that happened, I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen. When it did, it was so funny. That was hilarious. But yes, that would be a fun one to do at some point. We'll see what happens. I would like to revisit Megamind. I enjoyed that. And I never was part of the Despicable Me craze. I was aware of the Minions, but that was about it. But yeah, I would be interested to maybe do that in some point in the future. Yeah, when I'm running lower on ideas, I'll definitely consider doing that one. I'll look to my list, and that will be one of the things that I see there. And he says, anyways, to be honest, I don't like the idea of Deadpool becoming part of the MCU. I feel like it ruins the uniqueness of the first two movies. Also, I officially got sick of the MCU back in 2017. I agree, it does. That's why I'm really hoping that Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman have full control over their characters. And the director they've hired, he's worked with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman in the past. So, hopefully... those three will make a good team and can hopefully fend off Disney and Kevin Feige. That's what I'm hoping. So I hope they're left to their own devices to make the movie. I trust them, specifically Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. I do not trust anyone else. And I hope that those two, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, they are huge names. They've got a big history of success with that R rating. And I hope that they're given free rein to do whatever they want. And I hope the MCU-isms are just out of it. I don't even want them to be minimized. I want them to be completely out of it. And I do agree that it ruins the uniqueness of the first two films. But I feel like with Deadpool, you can be meta and smart enough. If you're smart with your meta comedy and commentary, I think that it can be done in a way that could be cool. But just so long as they don't prioritize the MCU-ness and try to incorporate that, like an STD, into these characters. So long as they don't do that, I'm all happy. But yes, it would boil my blood. It would really get me mad if they ended up just MCU-ifying these characters. So I hope that doesn't happen. But and you officially got sick of the MCU back in 2017, Jake? Yeah, I got sick of the MCU back in 2012. I was noticing a trend with the first Avengers. I was like, this is a lot of comedy. Let's hope they don't... This is the limit for me. Let's hope they don't surpass the limit. Then Age of Ultron was being announced with trailers and everything, and I was so looking forward to it. I was like, wow, that first Avengers, if that was more playful, that's okay, because the second one's going to be even more serious now. More serious. And then it just ended up being stupid, like one of the dumbest of the MCU movies, until Phase 4 came around. So, yeah, I was sick of the MCU way before a lot of other people were, because I didn't like the comedy thing they were doing. If it wasn't the Russo brothers making the movie, I wasn't really interested, so... Yeah. Thanks again, Jake, for that hugely generous super chat. That was so... I can't describe how it kind of like, it just takes me back, and I don't even know how to... It's like I'm at a loss for words whenever you donate these crazy amounts. So thank you very much, Jake. I really appreciate it. your donations and your support, it really means a whole lot. Now, let's see. I just realized now, the chats are going crazy, Jake, whenever you're donating. More records will be broken. Bro Jake said he has a good paying job, don't worry. Yeah, he did say that. James back at it again. Yes, he is. Damn, that badass to spoil the movie. Honestly, yay, Jake's here working his man. Yeah. It's funny how you basically have a huge... It's like, if the chat is a pond, you're basically this huge rock, and whenever you do these big donations, you just throw it into the pond, and it just has a huge reaction. Tons of ripples are going on. So, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, so, thanks very much. What about Infinity War? Adam Grunther is here, is what says Batman's Gamer. Yes, he is. What about Infinity War? I really enjoyed that. It's a Russo Brothers movie. I said I was always looking forward to the Russo Brothers movies. And Infinity War to me was definitely a huge upgrade just by the trailers and the movie itself compared to Age of Ultron. So I was really looking forward to that when I found out the Russos were directing it. So, Akin Whale says, sorry, I just got here. It's alright, you didn't miss anything. We're literally just about to go into what Ryan Reynolds wrote over on Instagram. So, let's bring up the message that he wrote. And I will say, he gave a rather very nice diplomatic message, is what he did. So, that is good. There was no attacking fans or anything, but I wouldn't expect Ryan Reynolds to do that kind of thing anyway. Got $2 super chat from Adam Grunther. Thank you very much for the super chat. Will you be seeing Godzilla -1 this year? I really hope I can, but I don't know why. My theatre has only got one showing, and it's on one of their smaller screens. I'd like to see it at least on a medium-sized screen, at minimum. Otherwise, I might as well just watch it at home and, you know that I'm going to enjoy it in the comfort of my own home with my own projector. I set the volume. And, yeah, there'd be far less risk than going to a theatre that potentially could just ruin the experience. So, yeah, I hope I can see it this year. I really do. I'll be keeping an eye out for the release dates and seeing if there's any other times they open up in my theatre. And if they do, I will go see it, if they open up more times. So, this is what Ryan Reynolds wrote. Surprises are part of the magic of theatrical movies. It's important for us to shoot the new Deadpool film in real, natural environments using practical effects, as opposed to making the movies indoors and digitally. Basically, all the Marvel movies that you've seen being made for the last several years, where it's all been just green screens and reshoots and all that stuff, he's basically saying we don't want to do that, which I thoroughly approve of. And I even said in my previous live stream that a lot of this is being shot practically. Even when we saw the 20th Century Fox studios and logo behind them, I said it was a practical effect, and I was so happy with that. So, great on them. Ryan Reynolds, that's one thing he's already done. We're talking about the tone, that we hope it doesn't get MCU-ified and stuff. One thing that he's already done is he's already dismantled what the MCU does in the fact that he's shooting practically. So that's very good. Ryan Reynolds knows that they need to shoot it in a practical sense. So hopefully they've got plenty of that they're doing. He continues, here's hoping some of the websites and social channels hold back showing images before they're ready. The film is built for audience joy, and our highest hope is to preserve as much of that magic as possible for the finished film and the big screen. Part of the reason people post spoilers is because they're excited. I like that he points that out. I realize these aren't real-world issues, which they are not, and it's firmly in the good problems bucket. I love making this movie. So, yeah, that was a very diplomatic, very kind way of saying please don't spoil the movie, and I can perfectly sympathize with him, because when you get down to it, I do think Deadpool 3 already has just been spoiling so much of what's been going on. I mean, seeing Wolverine and Deadpool fighting, that wasn't a surprise. Behind the 20th Century Fox logo, that was a surprise, but it was kind of a fun one. Jake said Deadpool should see She-Hulk twerking and then eye roll. Honestly, if he sees that, I hope they would break the fourth wall, but in a better way. I hope he jumps out of the screen, goes to see Kevin Feige, not that stupid robot Kevin Feige, the real Kevin Feige, picks him up and says, "What are you doing, Kevin?" Like, I hope they do something like that, if they did something like that. But honestly, just keep Kevin Feige out of it. I don't even want his name mentioned. Just make a very good X-Men movie. That's what I want to see. But yeah, has been a lot of spoilers that have been going around quite quickly as well, I gotta say, for for Deadpool 3, and I'm not sure exactly what. Well, I do know why. He actually says right here. Do you see where it says here? He goes, natural environments using practical effects as opposed to making the movie indoors and digitally. He goes here, telephoto lenses continue to spoil surprises and create a difficult situation for everyone. Now, for those of you that don't know, telephoto lenses are lenses that can zoom in right close in to their subject and can take very crisp and clear photos. That's what he means, telephoto lenses. So basically, if you were kind of like me, thinking, how the hell are they people taking these photos? Have they got bad security down there or something? Have they not locked off the set? Turns out they have, but somehow people from like way far away off in the distance are somehow still taking very clear telephoto images of the set. So that's apparently what the problem is that cameras nowadays have gotten so good that people are able to take pictures from so far away and not get caught. And telephoto lenses are things that they're putting in like smartphones and things at this point. So it kind of shows how people are really kind of like outsmarting Hollywood, and Hollywood don't know what to do. They're like, please just stop taking photos of our sets, basically. So, yeah, it's rather funny and interesting, isn't it? And telephoto lenses are, like I said, in smartphones now, and I don't know if these set photos are being taken with smartphone cameras, or if they're being taken with cameras from, like, expensive cameras, which probably is what it is. But smartphone cameras are so good these days, you can shoot and find anything with great visual quality. Now, I've got 3 super chats. No, I've got 4 super chats, I think, if I'm seeing this correctly. I have to scroll down to see the rest, but I've got 2 in front of me. And another one is from Jake. I don't know how much he has done, but let's see. Let's see in a second. Let me see. Movie Fan 2002, $5 super chat. Thank you very, very much. Do you think the trailer for Deadpool 3 will be shown during the Super Bowl? No. Actually, no. You mean next upcoming Super Bowl? Is that in the summer? When is the next Super Bowl? Well, it depends how much of the movie is done, and if they've got enough material to shoot a trailer. Which I think they should, because Matt Reeves only shot about 20% of his movie with the Batman, and he had a badass teaser trailer. But they'll try. They'll try to find some event to post the trailer in, but thing is, at the end of the day, you don't need to put it in the Super Bowl. Put a trailer like that on YouTube with Wolverine and Deadpool, it will get millions of views. Tens of million, maybe even hundreds of million. It's that sells on its own. So I don't think I don't think they will feel the need to do it during the Super Bowl, to be perfectly honest with you. Although, could you imagine the crowd going wild if they did? We'll see how they choose to market this movie. But Ryan Reynolds is a great businessman. I hope he does a very good job with marketing the movie. For sure, I really hope he does. And the Time Shadow, with his 4th super chat, says, Philosopher's Stone versus Chamber of Secrets, please. I wanted to do a 3-way versus video of all the Harry Potter movies. I wanted to do Harry Potter 1, 2, 3 versus each other, and then Harry Potter 4, 5, 6 versus each other, and then I was going to say, alright, the 2 Harry Potter movies that win, we'll verse them off against the 7th one, and then we'll come up with a winner that way. That was originally my idea years ago. The sad thing is I was looking so forward to using the original Harry Potter soundtrack from the movie, but unfortunately you can't use the soundtracks from the movies anymore because the copyright claims are just so insane. And that was part of my passion of editing those videos, was using music like that. But we'll see what happens, maybe one day. You know, when the new Harry Potter show comes out on HBO Max, or HBO now, or Max now, you know I'll be covering and doing versus videos galore at that point. But I'll try at some point to do that. Now, let's see. It turns out Jake did not do another super chat, by the way. It just leaves his name up here. Probably because you've done such a big amount, it leaves your name up there. So, yeah, I'm sorry, I missaw that. Batman's Gamer, who also has donated $5 in the super chat. Thank you very much, buddy, for that. Says, did you know Ryan wanted the first Deadpool, but Fox said no, so he did everything himself in terms of paying everyone for the film? It's what I read. I don't remember paying everyone for the film. What I remember is that someone magically leaked a little bit of a test footage that they put together of Deadpool years ago. And everyone thinks it's Ryan Reynolds, even though he won't admit it. And that essentially is what the studio saw, and they saw the great reception to it, and it made them greenlight the movie. I think it was 24 hours later, maybe even less than that, half of that maybe. He said that on Graham Norton. So then he ended up getting to make the movie. I don't remember them saying that he paid everyone for the film. I don't remember hearing that before. But that would be interesting if he did that. So, yeah. And we've got another super chat from Movie Fan 2002. You guys are doing so generous with these super chats. That's a $2 super chat. What are your ratings for Harry Potter films? I need to see them again. So I don't really know what I could say. Because it has been such a long time. What scores do I give them? I don't know. But I will say, the last I remember when I was a kid, Harry Potter 2 was my favourite of all the movies. And my least favourite was Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince of the movies. The book was great, but the movie was just focusing too much on young adult romance stuff, which is so disappointing to me. So, yeah, this is basically what Ryan Reynolds has said about the situation of the movie. I like when he goes that these aren't real-world issues, which is true, considering the real-world issue that is going on right now, and the genocide that's going on. But, I like that he did that. It shows that he's not tone-deaf. He's not being a celebrity, like, say, Gal Gadot, who thinks, we're a celebrity, let us, we're like the second coming. He didn't do anything like that, so it was a very down-to-earth response, and kind of like, it was very good. I like the way he phrased this whole message. And he also apparently put out a lot of his own fake, sort of like, set photos, his fake leaks, which is very funny that he did when he did that, and that kind of took off. I don't know if he's trying to use that to kind of like just, dilute the potential real leaks, but that would be a very interesting thing if that is what he's doing. So, let's see. I got 2 more super chats from you guys. Man, these are coming in very quick. Thank you, everyone, very much. That's a $2 super chat from Kidding Cell. How many Godzilla films have you seen? Let's see. I've seen the 1998 movie. I saw the 98 show, but that's not a movie. I'll tell you this. I've seen all the Hollywood movies of Godzilla. I think I only saw all the way through. I think I only saw one of the Japanese Godzilla Toho movies. A lot of the others, I just skimmed through them. Just to get to the Godzilla stuff, of course. But that's because I thought the characters, when I do stick with the characters and I watch them, I did genuinely give them a chance. They just seemed quite generic and boring to me. So hopefully I hear with -1, they're a lot better. So that's why I'm looking forward to seeing the movie, because I really want to get involved and, interested in the characters. But of all the Godzilla movies I've seen 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've seen all the Hollywood ones, and I think I've seen one of the others. Was it Godzilla 2000 that I saw? Or was it another one? I can't remember, but there's a lot of the Godzilla movies that I have not seen, which are the Toho types. But I've seen a lot of scenes from them. I've made sure to look for those. So yeah, and the Movie King 3000. Nice to see another familiar face right there. Says, if I can write my notes down here. With a $2 super chat. Let me just get rid of this here. Alright, sorry about that, just writing that down. So, the Movie King 3000 says, with a $2 super chat, there are early reviews of Echo and it's positive. I don't trust early reviews. I trust reviews from content creators that I actually trust. When they put their reviews up, then I'll get a more general idea as to what people think. But let me move Ryan Reynolds' message out of the way so you can see me as I'm gesturing. But we'll see what happens. Thing is, I feel like certain critics are going to say, oh, look at that, they made it rated R. They tried to do something a little bit more edgy with it. That's all we need. That's all the evolution that we need and all the revolutionary stuff we need from the MCU to praise them. So I don't please that easy, especially coming off of like the Daredevil Netflix shows. If they're going to make it rated R, I'll be the judge of that, I feel like. So yeah, early positive reviews, good. Let's hope it is positive. But at the same time, I feel like I'm not really going to take that much instead, to be perfectly honest with you. Okay, so yeah, those are my thoughts on Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, it is a tricky thing for them to shoot movies nowadays, but I feel like it can be done. Like, there's a lot of movies that we've seen, like The Batman. I don't remember, like, any stuff leaking about that, like, shots being taken of them filming, except for when they were outside of that funeral, in that funeral scene. Beyond that, I don't remember anything being spoiled, although there is a lot of Penguin stuff being shot, but I'm assuming they're doing a lot of that in-house in sets. You only really see him walking around outside, don't you? So yeah, Batman's Gamer goes, we're too early about Echo right now. I'm a bet that all the violence in the Echo trailer is all the violence there, hands down. Yeah, I do think so as well. But we'll see what happens. I don't have much faith in them, and if it does have a bit more violence, it'll just be a bit more violence, but not much more. And let's see. Phoenix Hunter is saying my opinion on the Five Nights at Freddy's games. I've not played them. I've heard of them, but I've never played them. Now let me see here. I'm going to put a poll out regarding Ryan Reynolds' little query about the spoilers. I want to ask you, are movies being spoiled by leaks too much? Let me rephrase that. Do you think leaks are becoming too much? Yes, no, and the third option, give me even more. Alright, there you go. I'll start that poll. You guys can get on to voting. Okay, and in the meantime, I'll answer the other super chat, which is from Iron Warrior. Let me just write it down. Alright, that's a $5 super chat from Iron Warrior, and he asks, hey Eric, I can't believe Guardians 3 had the villain's face being peeled off. Have you heard that Supergirl could be in Superman Legacy? Have you heard that Supergirl could be in Superman Legacy? Yeah, I'll answer the first question. Yeah, Guardians 3 peeling the villain's face off, I was kind of surprised. And when his face was peeled off, you could see his eye around here. And I was like, they definitely took that from Two-Face in The Dark Knight, because that was like the same eye profile that you saw with Two-Face. So you could definitely tell that he tried to push that. You could definitely tell that James Gunn tried to push that, which is good. I was happy when I saw that. And have I heard that Supergirl could be in Superman Legacy? I have. I really hope... Every time I keep hearing stuff, I just keep hearing that James Gunn is piling on more and more roles and more characters. His brother is apparently going to be playing Maxwell Lord, which I don't like the sound of that at all. I have no doubt that James Gunn could do a better version of the character, but I just don't like the idea that his brother is playing him, because his brother is a very good actor, but I don't see him playing that kind of role. I'm open to being surprised, but I don't really think that he's up for it. But we'll see what happens. Spirit Hero goes, hey Eric, my personal opinion is the MCU will soon or already are doing the same thing Sony has done with fake positive reviews. That is a very interesting take. It would be interesting if they tried, wouldn't it? I certainly wouldn't put it past them. I need to do more fake IMDb reviews. If you guys see any, send them to me and I'll, consider putting them into a video if I think that it reaches a point where it's like they've just done so many. Pizza Man goes, the Five Nights at Freddy games are pretty good. I should play them, Eric. I've got a lot of games I already need to play, and I'm already kind of like missing some of them. So I'm not against playing it. I just need a good reason. Recommend me the best one, and I'll look into it. Let's do that. Okay, Hui Toonmore. This is a question I saw about a couple minutes ago. I'll answer it. He says, Eric, why do you still have so much faith in Dave Filoni when shows like Book of Boba Fett, Mando Season 3, and Ahsoka have failed hard with fans? I'll tell you exactly why I have faith in Dave Filoni. Star Wars The Clone Wars. If you guys watch the show Star Wars The Clone Wars from beginning to end, you will see basically everything that I see in Dave Filoni is that he starts off with something that has cool stuff, but ultimately is not great. And then in Season 2, it gets quite a bit better. Still not great, but quite a bit better. Then Season 3, all of a sudden something happens and he just snaps into action and he becomes really good. It's like, how the hell did you get from okay to a bit better than okay to just freaking great? Like, how did that even happen? That's what happened with Star Wars The Clone Wars. And then with Season 4, he got even better. And then Season 5, even better. And you're like, where the hell did this show come from? From when it was in Season 1, it was just okay, to this? What is happening? Like, I didn't think a show could get that good. And it did, under his supervision. Him and George Lucas, though. And to this day, he still consults George Lucas as well. So, that is why I trust him. And then I saw Star Wars Rebels. I tried to finally watch it and complete it before Ahsoka came out. And Rebels was also one of those things where Season 1 I thought of Rebels was just so boring. There was a lot of good stuff in there, for sure, but there was a lot of filler in between, which I wasn't really into. Season 2 got better, especially when Darth Maul came in, but then again, Season 3 is where stuff started to get good. It started to feel like it was trying to take some of the stuff from the Clone Wars and put that in Season 3. And then we had Season 4, which was just really good. Like, every episode felt like it was moving the story forward, and it wasn't just padding or anything. So, I feel like once Dave Filoni, whenever he has a new show, he has to really get into his groove, and then he gets great. And with stuff like Mando Season 3, Mando is something that was really in Jon Favreau's hands. And Jon Favreau feels like he screwed the pooch with that one. And also Book of Boba Fett, again, was a Jon Favreau thing from what I heard. Dave Filoni, from what I've heard, he was working on the first season of Mando. He was working on the second season of Mando when he was interjecting some of his own characters in there, and he was monitoring them and everything. And then Dave Filoni, after that, what he did was, he was writing the Ahsoka show. And from writing the Ahsoka show, he then ended up, monitoring all of that show. So the Ahsoka show was his big thing that he was monitoring. And he set a lot of stuff up in the classic way that Dave Filoni usually does. And it's one of those things where it's like you eventually do see the fruits of his efforts. And I do think that the first Ahsoka show is a good start. It could have been a lot better, but you could see a lot of the stuff that he's hinting at. And if you watch the Clone Wars, again, a lot of the stuff that he's trying to talk about was already discussed in the Clone Wars, and now it's being expanded upon. So I am very excited to see what he does going forward, because I know his track record. That's why I seem to have a lot of faith in him. It's because he's got a track record, and his track record has not failed me so far. And even with the first Ahsoka season, I think it could be a far better than what it was, but I saw the good in it. But I do hope he does better, and I know he can, and I know he will do better. That's why I have so much faith in Dave Filoni. So give him a chance. We've given Kathleen Kennedy how many freaking shows and movies that she has screwed over and completely screwed up, and the fan base that she has just pissed off and just taken a big crap on. Dave Filoni is the one that hasn't done that, so I'm willing to give him more time. And yeah, the people that are trying to say Kathleen Kennedy's rubbed off on him, nonsense. George Lucas has rubbed off on him far more. And Kathleen Kennedy, he was only saying what he had to say and do what he had to do to please her. But when Jon Favreau becomes in charge, it will not be any of that anymore. So let's just wait for Kathleen Kennedy to go, and for Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau to have full reign and control themselves, and then we'll properly account them for the quality of the stuff. But not right now. Alright, now let's end that poll, and then I'll see if there's any other super chats that I've gotten, because I've not checked. I can tell I've got more, but I haven't checked them, so let's see. What are the results? Do you think leaks are becoming too much? 85% say yes, 12% say no, and 2% say give me even more. So yeah, it seems like a lot of you think the leaks seem to be going too far. And Huey Toonmore goes, nope, Favreau had no say in Boba Fett or Mando 3. Lastly, my name is spelled Huey, but it's pronounced as Huey, sorry. Huey, is Huey from The Boys, his character name, wasn't it? Sorry, Huey. I'll remember that going forward. Favreau had no say. No, Favreau did have say in Boba Fett. He was one of the people that tried to set that show up. Behind the scenes, if you listen to certain people that have inside scoops on Disney, they say he's one of the people that tried to do that. So he tried to do Boba Fett, but apparently Kathleen Kennedy, when Jon Favreau was focusing on something else, she went in, and she's the one that I heard apparently wanted those Power Rangers bikes or whatever you call them, and she was messing around with the story, and apparently Jon Favreau just left. He says, whatever. He found out too late that she had made a lot of changes that he couldn't change back, and he just left. So some of his creative decisions were in there, but a lot of the stuff had been changed by Kathleen Kennedy, apparently. So, and Mando 3. The Mandalorian, though, was Jon Favreau's creation, so I'd be surprised if he didn't, have a say in the third season. I'll be shocked if he didn't. Huey also goes, yeah, but now fans are starting to say that The Clone Wars was a bad show, and all this started after Ahsoka premiered. How do you explain that? I don't really know how to explain that. If they're going to look back at The Clone Wars, which is a great show, and now say it sucks, that to me says they've not seen The Clone Wars, because even people that I've talked to in my circles who straight up don't like the Ahsoka show, they said The Clone Wars is great. They've not budged on that. They said, if anything, the Ahsoka show should have followed the storytelling technique of the Clone Wars show, because that did it so much better with Ahsoka's story. So, yeah, there's a lot of people that are still trying to continue the hate when it comes to Star Wars. Like, they're trying to say it's woke, which I gotta say, it ain't. I've seen the woke stuff that Kathleen Kennedy has done. This stuff is not woke, but they're trying to say that it is woke when it isn't. There's elements in there that I did not like, but I wouldn't say that they're down to being woke. Because woke means that you put down the male characters, and they did not put down any of the male characters in this show. But that's my opinion on that. And Huey's final message that I can see here goes, but what if Ahsoka Season 2 is bad? If it's bad, then Dave Filoni has lost his touch. But it has to be at least on the same level or a bit better than what we saw. And Season 3 is where I'm going to be like, okay, now I'm expecting greatness. I like if we can get it sooner. Greatness from Dave Filoni sooner. Takes him a while. But it's okay if you can get great stuff in the end. Okay, now let me check the super chats, because I know I've gotten more, but I've not paid attention. I've not answered them. I always pay attention to them. Now, let me see. We've got another super chat from... Is that the old super chat from Jake or the new one? Oh. It's a new one. Jake, I feel like that is like 2 in 1. You gave a $70 super chat before. This is like $70 again times 2. I don't even know. Your generosity, Jake, knows no ends. You somehow still keep... One of the chats earlier, one of the people in the chat said earlier that Jake is breaking records. You didn't break a record here, but you've broken it before, and you're the only one. So it's like you don't need to beat your own record anymore. So thank you very much for the donation. I keep saying I'm at a loss for words. I don't even know how to thank you anymore. This is just too much. The amount of support you're giving me here. I honestly feel like I almost don't deserve that level of support. And I've got some more super chats afterwards. So let's answer Jake's questions. Some ideas for versus videos. Gremlins 1 versus Gremlins 2. That's a very good idea. I had that idea a long time ago, but I completely forgot about it until you just brought it up. So that's great. I did hear Chris Columbus say something that he wanted to make a third Gremlins movie. So great. If he wants to make a third one, then I could do a 3-way versus video with that. But yeah, the Gremlins 1 versus 2. Maybe I'll do that next Halloween. Maybe. Unless there's another Halloween idea. But I'll try to think about it. Short Circuit 1 versus Short Circuit 2. I've not seen that movie, but I've seen reviews of it, so I know what goes on in those movies. They can get quite nasty, can't they, at times? But I need to see those first. Kingsman versus Spy. Was Spy that Paul Feig movie? I saw that. It was funny, but it was too grotesque, I thought, in terms of its gross-out humor, which I always say gross-out humor is not smart like it used to be. That's an idea, but maybe the Kingsman movies versus the other Kingsman movies would be a better idea, but I do think that I do see the reason why I want a versus video between the two. They're both kind of comedic, they can both be... Was Spy gory? I can't remember, but I think they both can be gory when they want to be. And yeah, they're both Secret Service type stuff, aren't they? Agent stuff. Rocketman versus Bohemian Rhapsody. Good idea. Top Gun versus Maverick. I actually did have that idea at the time, but I didn't get around to doing it. So I had to kind of like cancel that off. And then Top Gun Maverick ended up being a super successful movie afterwards. The SpongeBob movie versus the Simpsons movie. That's interesting, but they're both very different, I would say, that one. But interesting. And King Kong original versus remake, I've wanted to do that, but I remember there was some other versus videos at the time, like other videos where people were comparing it, and I was like, should I even do it then at that point? But we'll see. I'll definitely consider. So, and the other ones, anyways, do you have hope for Deadpool 3? Yes, I do have hope for Deadpool 3. If, like I said, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are in control of it, then I do. If Marvel come in and say, we're going to start taking control of things, like Bob Iger said when he said the failure of the Marvels was that there was not enough supervisors, like studio executives on set. If they say, here, we're going to be the heroes, we're going to come in and fix Deadpool 3 because Disney's in a slump right now, and so are Marvel, they will be complete fools, and then I would have no faith in it. So that's my thoughts on that situation. If they just leave it to the creatives, it can be great. If they butt in, it will be terrible. And I'm looking at these other comments, and yeah, Jake, you've left another ripple in the chat. Oh, look at that! I can heart your super chats. I didn't know that. You can't do it on the actual app software that I use here for some reason. Yeah, you can't. You could do it only when I switch here. But thanks again, Jake, for that super chat. That is so helpful. That is to my monthly expenses and living arrangements and everything. So thank you very much. I keep saying this to all of you guys, and it is true. I would not be able to do this for a living if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you very much. And then we got Batman's Gamer, who's also donated a $5 super chat. What is up with this pen? It always works right until I'm about to use it. There we go. $5 super chat. If you want to talk about... give me a second here. There. If you want to talk about spoilers, then look no further than Tom Holland spoiling his Spider-Man movies and his appearances, the movies in general. Yeah, there was also one BBC Radio interview that he did where the Radio 1 interviewer talked to Andrew Garfield and said he knew that he was in the movie, and he said exactly why. He said that Tom Holland spoiled it, that he said that I wasn't in that scene where Spider-Man saves MJ, apparently, Zendaya in the movie, and Zendaya was trying to cover for him, and Tom Holland, you could just see that he realized, crap, I just spoiled it again. And that interviewer goes that he knew, and he goes that he could have actually, poked around and says, well, if you weren't there, Tom, then who was? That was a funny interview, and that was true. Andrew Garfield was laughing like crazy when he heard that. And I'm scrolling through these comments. I still see that the comment section is reacting to Jake. Thanks, Batman's Gamer, again for the super chat. Pizza Man goes fake. IMDb reviews return. Well, they never left. It was just there was a lot of other videos I was working on, and it never really came back because it is a bit of a tricky thing to make with all the comments. I have to arrange them, then I have to. I'll just say a lot more effort went into that first fake IMDb reviews than you might realize. Whenever you make a new show, you gotta kind of it's always hardest at the beginning. You gotta get into a groove, and then you come up with a formula, and you know how to edit it. But it is always a bit of a trick to edit these videos. So yeah, I will try to get back into that because I do want to. I still enjoyed the final result of fake IMDb reviews, so I want to continue it. All right. Pop Culture Debates has also done a $2 super chat. Let me write that down. There you go, $2 super chat. What do you think of Doctor Who? I like Doctor Who, but I like David Tennant. I'm not a fan of the Doctor Who show because it was just a bit too goofy for me, but I did like the holiday specials of Doctor Who. I did like those, and I would always watch those with David Tennant in them every year whenever a Christmas special would come out or something like that. I would always watch them. So yeah, I really do hope that they continue with those, because those were fun. But then, did you see what they did with the recent one? I've seen clips on the internet where they had David Tennant, and they says basically they're just the women are talking down to him and saying, you know, you were so much better when you were a woman. And they're just pretty much demeaning him. This is the old school woke thing that we talked about, which has now seemed to have passed. And they did it hardcore, like back how they would right at the beginning of this whole movement. Well, I say movement, this whole thing that Hollywood was trying to incorporate. I'm shocked at how much they put that in. And yeah, people got mad. And I can totally see why. It did anger me as well, and I normally don't care about Doctor Who, but like I said, David Tennant is my favourite Doctor Who. He's the one I think of when I think Doctor Who. And they just insulted him. Even he when you look at him in the show, people say it looks like he doesn't have that joy in him that he usually does when he plays the character. And I don't blame him. Yako the Fiery Muto goes, "Hey Eric, I just woke up, but I'm here now. That is great, and I'm glad you just caught the live stream. And thanks for your $2 super chat. I really appreciate that. I can now click the heart next to your guy's super chat, so thanks very much for that." And Huey says, "I honestly hope you are right, and that people will start liking Faverou again once Kennedy leaves, whenever that will be." Yeah, we will talk about that in the next story. Oh, look at that. We got another super chat from Adam Grunther. "I'm writing these down a lot more than usual. It means you guys are putting in more super chats than usual. Thank you very much, as always, for those." Okay, did you ever see What If Season 1? It is hit or miss for the most part, but the Doctor Strange episode in it was genuinely incredible. I've seen a couple. I saw one that says, "What if Ultron took over the world?" Or "What if Ultron killed the Avengers?" And I really wanted to see that for the 20 minutes, but instead it was done in the first minute or two, and then it went on to the aftermath. I was like, they rushed that. I did see a few of them, and I think they were too rushed. I think all those What If episodes, they really needed to take their time. I haven't seen the Doctor Strange episode yet, but that is the one that caught my fancy the most. But I just didn't see it because I thought they would rush it like they did all the others. But I will give it a watch. Who knows, maybe I'll watch it and put it on my Let's Watch show on Patreon. If it is just that one episode, I can give it a watch and do that. And if they're short enough, it'll be quick enough to edit too. So I'll consider doing that. Stay tuned to my Patreon for that, for the Let's Watch show. Okay, now, I've chatted to you guys for a lot on this one story, so let's move on to the next one. Now, the next story is... Oh, hold on a second. Gotta switch my view here as well. There you go. Dave Filoni is Chief Creative Officer at Lucasfilm, will be planning the future of Star Wars films and shows. So what does this basically mean? Now, this is a couple weeks old news, but I was struggling to find news for this stream, so I thought I'll talk about this, because I saw this but I didn't really talk about it at all before. I thought, let's make a stream out of it. So what does this mean that Dave Filoni is put in the top position? Because let's not forget, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are basically the people that everyone wants to take control of Lucasfilm, and they're the people that have had the most votes. When people are saying, fire Kathleen Kennedy, and when it was trending on Twitter, the replacements that people wanted was Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. So the last thing that Kathleen Kennedy would want is for Dave Filoni to be promoted, because by promoting one of her underlings, it means her underlings has a higher chance of replacing her. That's the last thing someone in her position of power would want, for someone beneath her to end up having a higher position. Now, basically what I think this means is that Jon Favreau, who Bob Iger wants to be in charge of Lucasfilm, is now starting to get more control over at Lucasfilm, because before that he could try to get control, but Kathleen Kennedy was ultimately the one that called the shots, and she could overrule him unless he went to Bob Iger. So what this basically means is that Jon Favreau now, the fact that Dave Filoni is even put in this position, means Jon Favreau is starting to get more control, and he's starting to bring his people in now. And who else has he brought in? Dave Filoni. This is not someone that, like I said, Kathleen Kennedy would want in a higher position, but now he's there. He's kind of like the advisor to Kathleen Kennedy, but that's only temporary until they eventually get rid of her. Now, apparently, and I've said this before when I looked at the Patreon of Cameron Pasha, and he's talked about this on his Patreon, and he's made mention of it, that basically, according to his source, so I don't know if this is true or not, but according to his source, who does seem reliable, the Kathleen Kennedy's supporters within the company have been questioned regarding how they were trying to take advantage of the company and how they're trying to take holidays and stuff, and really they were trying to say we're taking time off for this when really they were going on a holiday or something. They've basically been brought in and questioned, and the people that were questioning them essentially wanted them to give dirt on Kathleen Kennedy, and essentially they have, and now they have a lot of information. Like, they have access to, like, I think it's Bob Iger and Jon Favreau, they have access to Kathleen Kennedy's own words, to her emails. And apparently what they're going to try to do, and there was some rumors of this going around in the fandom, that apparently emails or some like news about Kathleen Kennedy is going to start dropping. And people were like, oh, is this just rumors? Is this nonsense? And it turns out that this is actually stuff that is true. And apparently this is stuff that's been put out there as a means to tell Kathleen Kennedy, go quietly, or we will publicly put out the emails that you sent, and they will be very compromising. So basically, Bob Iger and Jon Favreau want Kathleen Kennedy gone by the end of February, from what I've heard, and they've given her a chance. And they said, you can go quietly, or if you continue to try to cause issues, and you don't go quietly, we'll just drop these emails out. So that's apparently what is going on because of that situation. So it is very interesting. We're going to have to watch this space and see what happens. But basically, the media do not want to out Kathleen Kennedy with her emails. So Jon Favreau and Bob Iger are going to find an alternate way of letting those emails out if she doesn't comply. And we'll see exactly what that is, but apparently it's supposed to be brilliant how they're going to do it. I don't know how they're going to do it, but we'll see. Miles Adair put in a $10 super chat. I'll answer that because it looks like he's about to go soon, so I hope he sees you get your answer, and I hope you're on to see. Hey Eric, I won't be around for the stream very long. I was here from the beginning, going to see Godzilla -1. This is my question. Do you think Kathleen Kennedy even cares when Star Wars fails? No, she doesn't. Because Star Wars was failing. If you look at the sequel trilogy movies, you had The Force Awakens, which made about over $2 billion, then The Last Jedi, which made over $1 billion. That is a failure, because a franchise like this, the trajectory is supposed to go up. When Disney talk to their stockholders and shareholders and say, we're going to make 3 Star Wars movies, do you think they say to the shareholders that from movie 1, movie 2, and movie 3, you're going to just see a downward spiral? No, they basically say to them, you're going to get an upward spiral. We're going to make a lot of money with the first movie, we're going to make even more money with the next one, and more with the next. Kind of like what happened with Infinity War and Endgame. Infinity War made a lot of money, but Endgame made even more money. That's what shareholders and investors want to see. And when Star Wars, a franchise as huge, big, and popular as Star Wars, failed to do that, that's not a good thing. It made her look incredibly bad. So she doesn't care if the Star Wars brand fails. She cares just so long as she can reshape it in her own image, and her supporters will just basically eat it all up. The money in the end, she's going to act like it's a problem, is something she cares about. But if that's the case, then why did she make the exact same mistake when it came to Indiana Jones 5? She had bloated budgets on that movie. It was just nothing that the fans really wanted. There was stuff in there that she knew would be considered controversial, but she put it in anyway. And it just kind of shows a lack of respect for the franchise in that sense. So in her own twisted, crazy mind, I don't think she does care if it fails or not. She just expects to put whatever crap out that she wants, and people should watch it. Which is kind of what I've said is Disney's attitude in general. They've had that feeling with the MCU shows, with the Star Wars shows, or with all this stuff, and the Disney and Pixar movies. We can put any piece of crap out, and you guys are going to watch it, because we're Disney. You can't live without us. There's this really sort of like gross kind of like superiority complex that these people in Hollywood have. And when they were trying to act political and things, then trying to say, look how good we're being, like I said, they're always looking for pats on the back. They try to make themselves look like the good guys and their audience look like the bad guys. And they tried to get some mileage out of that, which they did for a few years. But in the end, it's not raised their profits. And if anything, Disney is such a hated company now. They've just pissed off a lot of people. So it's come to the point now where you're seeing Wish, complete flop. The Marvels, complete flop. All their movies this year flopped, with the exception of Elemental, which just broke even, which, for Disney standards, breaking even is still not good. And you also had Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is the only movie that made a profit. But still not the profit that Disney are used to making, which is over $1 billion. Everything else was a flop. So, yeah, I think there came a point where they thought, we're going to still make our money, but now it's not. But Kathleen Kennedy, she's kind of like a special flavor of crazy. The amount of failures she's done, she still wants to basically have control over Star Wars. That kind of says everything you need to know about her. So, yes, going back to the story at hand, Jon Favreau, like I said, is taking control and starting to bring some more of his own people into Lucasfilm. One of those people being Dave Filoni. And you'll also find that other people started talking recently too, over the last month or two. The last couple of months, I think it's been. Like Guillermo del Toro. He did the Pinocchio movie. He's a great director. He did the Pinocchio Netflix stop motion movie, which was great. I think I put that on one of my best favorite movies of the year last year. And he basically said that he's not going to be doing any more live action movies. He's going to stick to animation. But then a couple of months ago, he was talking about a Star Wars movie that he had pitched at Lucasfilm, which apparently didn't happen. And he says that, yeah, I'll be interested in coming back and doing that Star Wars movie. And that Star Wars movie was apparently going to be a Jabba the Hutt movie. Some kind of mafia gang kind of like movie or something. And people say that's interesting that he said that right after he said he's not going to be making any more live action stuff. And there was a lot of people guessing as to why. And the big question is, why is he talking about it now of all times? And the speculation from people within the company at Disney that were leaking stuff to certain people on like Patreon accounts and certain other influencers were saying that the speculation is that this is proof that even though it hasn't been announced, Jon Favreau is getting more control over at Disney and probably told Del Toro to mention it, or Del Toro was called in and offered for his project to be revived by Jon Favreau after it was discarded by Kathleen Kennedy. Hence, Guillermo del Toro felt like, yes, I can announce it on an interview, and he did. Regardless, this shows a sign that the power dynamic at Lucasfilm is changing. And then we get this information that Dave Filoni has been promoted. Like I said, Kathleen Kennedy does not want one of her underlings who can potentially replace her to be, promoted. But Jon Favreau would want that. Why? Because he's not going to bring his own people in. And apparently what some of these inside influencers and reports are saying is that Kathleen Kennedy had like a stack of Star Wars projects that she rejected. And Bob Iger told Jon Favreau, you and your people can look through those, filter through them, find the best ones, and make them. And some of the ones that she's already made, try to go in and fix them if you can. That's basically what his assignment has been. So that's why Del Toro is one of the first people to be brought in, is one of the first people to be told to mention this. So yeah, there is some big things happening. It's like, give it till next year. Maybe the first half of next year. That's my speculation. I don't know if it is going to be the first half, but we'll see. I think Kathleen Kennedy is really getting neutered. She is getting less and less and less control over at Lucasfilm, and now they have the blackmail stuff to basically prove that. So that's what I basically think of that. Let's see. We got a $5 super chat here. From Batman's Gamer. But before I answer that, just give me a quick second. I need to just fill up my water bottle because my throat is starting to go, so bear with me a second. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. My throat was killing me. I felt like I had to get some water, so I'm all filled up now. And Alright, where was it? Where were we? Batman's Gamer. We are Disney's bank. we are Disney's bank. They make money by giving us movies for us to see in They make money by giving us movies for us to see in theaters. Without us, no money to be made. They forgot to respect us. That is true, because there's a video that was made recently with Christopher... Not recently, it was a while back, but a video that I saw recently with Christopher Lee, who played Saruman in The Lord of the Rings and Count Dooku in Star Wars. He talked about how studio executives, they can individually make like a series of flops, or collectively they can make a ton of flops. And what those executives would do is, rather than blame themselves for making a bad decision or bad creative decision that tanked the movie, they'll blame everyone else. They'll blame a different executive, or that executive, or maybe they'll blame the writer or the director, or they'll blame the actor on the set or a producer, but they'll never blame themselves. He says that is failing upward, where they keep making these mistakes, yet they try to shift the blame to someone else and still continue on with their career the way they do. And there was a time where the executives would always fight and point fingers at everyone else, in terms of they would point the fingers at everyone else who made the movie. But there came a point over the last few years where they shifted that idea, and instead of pointing the finger at each other in the industry, they started to point the finger at the audience. And once they did that, that is something which I think is just downright scummy of them to do to their audience. It's like, seriously, how dare you do that? Because like what Batman's Gamer said, we are the audience, and they seem to think that they're so high and mighty, they just print money. But they don't. The only reason they make the money is because we buy their stuff. So what they should do is respect the people that buy their stuff, but clearly they took them for granted. They thought we can do whatever we want, and they thought, yeah, we'll put the blame on them. And it's come to a point now where Disney, they've been doing that relentlessly throughout all their divisions, whether it was Disney, Pixar, especially with Star Wars, and even Marvel started doing it. A company like Marvel, which we thought was impenetrable. It's like, who would have thought that Marvel would be in the state it is now, coming off of Endgame? No one would have thought that. But they started pointing the finger at the audience, and that is where they went really wrong. It's like, say, if I make a video that people don't like, and all of a sudden, imagine if I point the finger at you and say, well, the video was bad because of you guys. It's like, no, the video is bad. If the video is bad, it's because of what I did. It's got nothing to do with you guys. But that's basically what these studio execs have done. And imagine if I did that to you guys, where I just blamed you all the time. You either would unsubscribe from me there and then and stop watching, or you would give me a couple videos just to see my stuff, but then eventually you'll get worn down and say that Eric is just blaming me for everything, and you'll say, fine, I don't want to support him anymore. It's just, that's the same way I would react to other content creators out there too, if they did the same thing to me. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to watch you anymore. And content creators have done that, where they start just calling their own audience out, and I've been on the receiving end of that too, for channels that I grew up watching, and it just turns you off of them, and you can't see them in the same way. And that is what is happening to Disney. It's why people don't go to see their movies like Wish and, you know, like all these movies they release. Even families don't go. There's a lot of other reasons and contributing factors too, but that is one of them, and do never underestimate it. Your relationship with your audience is key. But Disney seem to have forgotten about that. A lot of the studio executives have, but Disney in particular have, and they are not the company that is supposed to be doing that. So, yeah. Without a shadow of a doubt, that is a problem. I agree with you, Batman's Gamer. And let's see. Oh boy, I've just seen Jake's super chat. Seriously, dude, $280. I thought you outdid yourself the first time. I didn't think you could do it again. $270 donation. No, you did a $70 donation, a $140 donation, and now you've done a $280 donation. Jake, you are too kind to me. I don't think there is any other like content creator out there who gets as generous super chats as I get from you. I don't think I've ever heard of one that is this generous. Seriously, dude. Seriously, dude. I genuinely feel like I should have to. YouTube should have an option where you can give something to someone in return, and I would certainly give you something in return, but I just don't know what. Oh boy. I almost feel guilty taking this from you. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I really need to give you more. Let's read your question. Let's start with that. One versus video, though I doubt you'd be into it. That could be funny is Valley Girl 1983 versus Valley Girl 2020. Neither movies are really amazing, but they both have their moments. Also, the remake at least adds new elements to make it feel like a somewhat different movie, unlike most remakes. Also, rest in peace, Star Wars. Yeah, I've heard of the movie Valley Girl, but I've never looked into it. But I've heard it's definitely crossed my radar before. You know what? I'll look into it in a second. Let me just see if there's any other chats that I'm missing. Jake, this is like, I feel like if another record you're breaking is how you're just driving the chat crazy. When you're like, oh, Batman's Game is like, oh my god, the Dark Lord, here we go again. Batman's Gamer Jake, Spirit Heroes, like, holy hell. George Phillips goes, oh, that topped last time. It topped the last one. Yeah, I think this is Jake's record that he always beats. It's like the highest he's gone is like 280. That seems to be his record. That seems to be. He's about to break his record. Well, if he just goes 1 cent beyond it, then yes, he has broken his record. What the heck? Jake, holy shit, Jake, calm down. He's at it again. I'm done with this stream. Holy Jake, Eric's gonna flip. Eric has gotten too used to this now, I feel like, I feel like I'm so lucky to be able to say something like that. But yeah, this is something that normally streamers would go crazy over, and I think I have in the past. But it almost feels like I'm just too used to it now. I'm kind of in shock. It's like the surprise goes away, and what is left is just the shock every time I see this. Seriously, I feel like I have to give you something in return. Well, I've answered your question. I'll look into the Valley Girl live on stream, so let's start with that. Thank you very much, Jake. Seriously, your generosity knows no bounds. It really does. Thank you very, very much. You really, your support really, I never get tired of it. Even though I might get used to seeing this, well, I'm never used to it. The shock is still there like it was before. But I will say that I never take any of you guys for granted, and gestures like this, I just don't even have the words. It's how much I appreciate it. So thank you very, very much. I really do appreciate the super chats and the constant support. And the fact that you guys keep coming back to these live streams all the time, it's really feels like I've got a really supportive community around me. I'm one of the luckiest YouTubers out of all the YouTubers on the platform in that regard. So thank you so, so much. Now let me see. I saw another question from Jess. Jess says, Eric, I feel like you're ignoring me when I put down my comments and you haven't responded it from the very beginning. I'm not trying to be mean, I'm just being honest. Don't think I'm ignoring you, because I'm not. I always say this at the beginning of every stream before I start. I say, I'm going to be focusing on the story that I'm talking about. I'll glance at the chat, but I'm not going to be really responding to any questions, except for super chats. That's always the rule. There's always a Q&A session after when I'm finished telling these stories. Admittedly, I probably can do a better job of streamlining my stories and how I tell them. I'm still trying to work on that. These live streams are still very new to me. I'm not really used to them. It still feels odd when I do it. So I will answer your question, and I'm not trying to ignore your question. There's a lot of people's questions that come up, and I miss a lot. But that's why I always have the Q&A session. So be sure to ask me the question again if I miss it. There's nothing wrong with asking the question again. So, let's continue. Let's see. Jake donated $200. Some people are telling me, Eric, Jake donated $280 super chat. Yeah, I'm always behind. I'm trying to slowly catch up. So I always tend to miss. I always tend to miss them when you guys see them. I always get a bit loose. It's so funny looking at everyone else's reaction. It's like I think some people have not seen Jake donate that much, so they're really surprised by it. But yeah, thank you very much, Jake. I really appreciate it. Your name is... I got 2 of your names that are staying up here. Usually the super chat names disappear, but I think because your super chats are so big, your name is still highlighted here twice. Eric has to see this. Yes, Eric has seen it. And I've got Pop Culture Debates, who has also donated to me another $2 super chat. You know what, Jake? I might use some of your donation to buy myself some new pens. I don't know why. This Plenty of Ink is working fine, but every time I go back, it wants me to, like, go over stuff constantly. So, let's see. $2 super chat. What do you think of the Japanese Godzilla movies? I love the production of them. They're very classy in their production. I like how they use a lot of practical effects and have a guy in a costume. That's really fun. I hope they never really try to get away from that. I hope they always try to do a half and half costume and CGI mix. I really enjoy that. I don't know what the effects are like in the new one. I've seen a trailer reaction. I've done a trailer reaction on my Patreon. But I don't know how much... they've mixed the two effects, the two styles in this new one. But I'm looking very forward to seeing how. Let's see. Now, where is... Jess goes, give us Indy 5 Director's Cut with Shia LaBeouf. They didn't even shoot that, so there is no Director's Cut of that. They'd have to shoot that whole part again in the movie. And then an apology video and then leave YouTube. Probably would have had to, yeah. Let's see. It would have been nice to see Shia, regardless of all the stuff going on between him and Harrison. Yes, it would have been... Actually, would it have been? I've not kept up with Shia LaBeouf, but doesn't he have a court case coming up for someone that he potentially assaulted? I've not kept up with Shia. There was a time where everyone somehow bizarrely just kept up to date with what he was doing, but now I seem to have a lot of people seem to have dropped off. So, yeah. You're tearing me apart, Lisa says. Treat your male audience like crap, actively tell them the movie isn't for them, and then call them sexist for not going to see it. Great idea, Disney. Yeah, that is true. They did do that a lot, didn't they? Where they were saying this is a movie made by women, for women, with women, all that stuff. And then they were saying that you guys don't ruin it. It's a movie for us girls instead. Then they're like, all right, fine. Watch it then. Watch it. We won't, but you guys watch it. And then they're like, no, you need to watch it too. Otherwise you're a sexist. It's like... No. Since when does not watching a movie make you an ist? That's an ugly thing Hollywood tried to do. I wonder if Hollywood did that on purpose. And they thought, you know what? We're going to guilt trip everyone into watching our movie and gaslight them into doing it, and it'll give us more money. Do you think that's what they actually did? They thought we'll get more money if we gaslight people into watching our films. So they have to watch it or else be an ist, whatever ist we call them. Potentially it could be. I wonder if some idiot at Hollywood actually had that opinion and actually shared it across the room. And now they should get fired for it. I got a $5 super chat from Yako the Fiery Muto. Let's see. What are you saying here, buddy? Let's see. What do you think of Christmas movies? I'm currently making Yako 3 Echoes of Destiny, and that's a Christmas movie. Christmas movies are fun when they're done right. They're usually fun. Even the bad ones, though, they have a nice visual aesthetic to them. So I usually tend to enjoy Christmas movies. Vilka says, and he's still spamming 3 times as I gave him permission to do, I can definitely recommend you to watch the Jackass movies. Be warned, there are some disgusting stuff in the movie, like drinking sweat out of someone's... Yeah, that's the stuff I'm not into. It's why I did not even bother with it. I did look into the PSP game back in the day, though. On the PSP, I did look into that. That was interesting, that was. So, but I didn't know. I'm not watching the movies. Those movies are just too much for me, honestly. They're too raunchy. Okay, so that's basically my story on Dave Filoni basically taking his position, a promotion at Lucasfilm. The pieces are being put into place to get Kathleen Kennedy out. And I hope she doesn't go quietly and then they do release her emails, because it would really show what a hypocrite she is. But a lot of these Hollywood types are hypocrites. They say one thing and then do another. So, yeah. I always say this when it comes to Hollywood, but burn, baby, burn. Let these these two-faced executives get exposed and expose each other out of bitterness towards each other if they have to. So, any questions, everyone? No says, Eric would direct Age of Ultron so much better. I appreciate your kind words. But there's a craft to filmmaking I don't know. Although, I think I would come up with better ideas than what they did in that. A lot of people can come up with better ideas what they did in that. Heck, even Marvel came up with better ideas in that What If episode. They just rushed past them so quick and didn't give them enough time to be developed. So, it is just the Q&A time now, so... I did not design a Q&A screen, though, which is kind of my bad, that. Let me see. By all means, go ahead and ask any questions that you have. In the meantime, I'm just going to quickly put in a bit of text on the screen, which from now on I might end up using. What are you drinking there, Eric? I'm just drinking water in this bottle. A bottle you can get on eBay or something. Keeps the cold water cold and keeps the hot drinks hot. And I like to drink a lot of water because I'm in the attic room. Rather than going down 2 flights of stairs and then going to the kitchen and filling up your bottle and going back up the 2 flights of stairs, I like to just have a big bottle here so I can drink it while I'm editing. And also join the live stream because my throat always goes out. So hopefully this will make me feel better. I don't know why though. I will say that I will share this with you. I don't know if any other people on their live streams have said this, but live streaming always makes me hungry all the time. Like it always does, very bizarrely. So that's something that always happens. Sad Blue Robot goes, "Did you like Loki season 2?" I still haven't seen Loki season 1. I have seen a lot of the first episode, which I did think was pretty good actually. But yeah, that was about it. Let's see. Who's some of our Jake says, whose are some of favorite characters from Pixar's movies? I think you're saying whose are some of my favorite characters from Pixar's movies. Let me think. Well, I like the Toy Story characters, all of them. I like Woody, I like Buzz. Many of those characters I like, and I even like the characters in Monsters Incorporated. There we go, Q&A. Let me think. Yeah, the Toy Story characters, I put them right at the top. Unless you've got any other ideas that I'm not thinking of right now. That would be interesting if there's someone better. But Toy Story characters, I give them a lot of... they're in very high regard to me. Let's see, you got another $5 super chat from Batman's Gamer. Seriously, guys, thank you very much for these super chats. They are incredibly helpful. Who would you cast for Robin, Nightwing, Red Hood, and Batgirl in the Brave and the Bold movie coming soon? Well, Robin, I don't know. If you're having a Nightwing, then Robin has to be a kid. And for a kid, I think you would want someone new. Maybe Jacob Tremblay as Robin, because I have seen him looking a little older now compared to the little kid that he was. So maybe Jacob Tremblay. Yeah, I think Jacob Tremblay would be a good Robin. If it's... let me think. Yeah, he'll be a good Robin and a good Nightwing. That is where it'll be a bit tricky. I will say, though, someone asked me before who should the new Joker actor be. I think a new Joker should be Willem Dafoe. People have been saying that it would be cool to get him. He wants to do it. I'd be curious to see what they could do with him. So I would say Willem Dafoe, I would say. But yeah. I'll say... Let's see. Yeah, it would be Jacob Tremblay as Tim Drake. As Nightwing. Who would you guys want as Nightwing? I'm not entirely sure. You need someone very specific with Nightwing. Red Hood. I would say if you want to get Red... Nah, he'd probably be too old. I was going to say if you want Red Hood, you should probably get... was it Jensen Ackles? Who was in Supernatural? And he was also in The Boys. And he was in Smallville. He did the voice, I think, if I remember correctly, for the Red Hood in the Under the Red Hood animated movie. So if they get him to do that, I would think that would be a good choice. And as for Batgirl... Who would I get for Batgirl? I would say probably a no name. Get someone new for Batgirl, I'd say, probably. So yeah, those are some of my choices, but they're off-the-head choices, like, you know, on the top of my head. Jason Keane goes, I dare you to search up Goots? Is that Goutse? Wow. I can't believe I was just pranked into searching for that. Yeah, I'll tell you guys, don't search for that. I don't even know what that... I didn't even know what that was when I searched for it. Jason, you are such a troll. I feel like if there's anyone I should ban, I should probably ban you for doing that. But I'm gonna move on and hope that was just a one-time thing. Jake DeBruin goes, thoughts on James Cameron's biggest movies? I have mixed feelings his movies overall. Love Terminator and Aliens, though. Yeah, the first Terminator was great. Terminator 2, I think, was even greater. Aliens, I loved. I give that a 10 out of 10. I haven't seen this movie, The Abyss. I want to see that. I have not seen it, though, but that's something I want to see. I think it's got, like, 2 or 3 different versions. I think that's something that tripped me up, and I was like, which one do I see? So... And apparently he used those effects. It was kind of like his testing ground for the Liquid Metal Terminator, which is interesting. So, yeah, that's one of them that I've not seen. Titanic I loved. Me and my brother saw it in theatres. I think I told you guys before, though, it was a very bad experience because you got some idiot behind me trying to talk to his wife a lot throughout the movie. So that was annoying. My brother had never seen Titanic, by the way, and I hadn't seen it in, like, since I was a kid. Like, about 10 years ago or something, maybe. Maybe 15, so it was a long time since I'd seen it, and it was a ruined experience, but we got our money back. And then we have Avatar. I like the first Avatar. The first Avatar very much shows how the homeland of people, natives or whatever, are invaded by America who want their resources. And they show the American soldiers and all that and how they do everything. And it's very applicable, and it just, with time, you know, it was always applicable even back then, but I feel like with time it's become even more applicable as well. Like what's going on with what's going on in Gaza, for example. So it's like you can look at that and say, yeah, it's basically just America, like, trying to come in and just, like, steal all the resources, and to hell with the people that live on that, or that live there, who, you know, own it. So I would say that. It's aged better, Avatar. What James Cameron was trying to say, it's continued to basically, I think, live on. Which is kind of sad. It's something that shouldn't. Do you think Titanic was a bit too long at 4 hours? Titanic wasn't 4 hours, wasn't it? Wasn't it 3 hours and 10 minutes? Alexa, how long was Titanic?
Titanic is 3 hours and 14 minutes long.
3 hours and 14 minutes long. I apologize if I activated your Alexas at all. I don't know if you guys heard that, but it said 3 hours and 14 minutes long. Yeah. Will you watch Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes? Says Worried Sick. Yes, I will. I love the Planet of the Apes movies. Was it earlier this year or earlier last year? It might have been last year. I watched all the original Planet of the Apes movies on my projector, and it was so fun. It was just so good watching those movies. I love those. I still haven't seen Battle for the Planet of the Apes. I've still got to see that. But yeah, I love the Planet of the Apes movies. The only problem is that it's Disney, isn't it? They own Fox. This movie was commissioned under their regime. And this is back when they were being very preachy. Like, we're still seeing the fruits of those movies back then, or should I say the rotten fruits of the movies they commissioned at the time. And look at how they've turned out. So I don't trust Disney. I'm sorry, no, for doing that. I'm sorry, but hopefully you got the same answer from your Alexa, but yeah. But yeah, Disney were looking to be preachy when they put that Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes movie out there, and apparently they wanted transgender apes, is something that I heard, which I was like, the apes are not that evolved that they're going to be going down, that area. I was like, you're skipping so much, and that's not how they do things. They're already quite far behind technologically when you see them in the present. So to do that, I was like, that's not something that they worry themselves with or do. But Disney, they want to preach that stuff, so they would do that. But I hope they didn't do that when it comes to this. I hope they do a very good job, I hope. I hope they leave it to the creatives. But yes, I will see that. That is a movie I am actually very looking forward to seeing, but I'm scared because it's Disney, and their name no longer means quality. It means we're going to preach to you, and then we're going to lose money at the box office, and then we're going to realize that we made the mistake. But the thing is, they deserve it at this point. They should have known a long time ago. Well, let's see here. Jake says Tom Kenny could be a good Joker, in my opinion. Yeah, he could. Jess says, Eric, have you heard of a YouTuber called Erod Blockbuster Buster? Yes, I have. And I've got a little story about him. Bear with me. Yeah, I used to watch his videos a lot when I was younger. And he's the kind of person that always talked about respecting each other's opinions and everything. And back when I had a Twitter account, he tried to... I remember he was talking about something. Was he trying to insult the Joker movie or something? It was either the Joker movie, it was Robert Pattinson as Batman. It was something that he was trying to talk about. And he was trying to say that the CW characters, that these are all great. And I said, not really. It was either the CW characters or it was certain Marvel characters that he was trying to say are so great. I think it was the CW characters. And I said, not really. Those yeah, he was trying to compare the DC characters, like Aquaman and all them, to the CW version of the characters of Batwoman and Supergirl and all that. And I was like, not really. Those they're really going downhill on the CW. And I said essentially that the DC characters are getting better. They are getting better, slower. And then he was like, I said, meanwhile, the CW is turning into something ugly, whereas the DC, it does look like it's going to turn into something more beautiful. And he goes, yeah, no. And then apparently he blocked me. And I supported him on Patreon for a couple of years at the time. And I was like, wow, this is the person that basically said, be respectful in the comments and respect everyone's opinions. And then he did that when someone didn't like his opinion. And people were also talking about the leaks for Black Widow and stuff, and apparently he was responding to his audience in very disgusting ways that were just rude. And that was one of the things that I realized. This is a while back now, back when my Twitter was working a long time ago. And that was one of the things I realized, where I was like, yeah, I'm never going to act that way to my audience if I have one. If I say everyone has their own opinion about a movie, I mean it. I'm not going to get rude at them just because theirs doesn't match mine. I'm not going to use it just to make it sound like I'm being reasonable. I'll actually mean it. So yeah. Anyway. Pizza Man says, I'm heading out. See you guys. Well, take care. It was good seeing you here. Thanks very much for joining the stream. Jess goes, the way Erod bust movies was funny and hilarious. Yeah, it was. But remember what I said to you about not treating your audience well and how Disney do that? The same thing with him. Once he started doing that, I stopped watching him. I even kind of felt a bit bad for supporting him on Patreon too after that. Mahesh says, have you heard of Welcome to Dairy and please don't ignore me? I've already said I'm not ignoring anyone. I get a lot of questions here. It's hard to sometimes read all of them. I have heard of Welcome to Dairy. It's meant to be a prequel Pennywise show on Max that Andy Muschietti is supposed to be producing and all that kind of stuff. I think he's directing as well. Yeah, sounds like a good idea for a show. I'd watch it. Yako the Fiery Muter goes, Eric, if you would direct a Hollywood movie, what would you direct? I don't know if you answered already, lol. If I would direct a Hollywood movie, it would be some kind of a horror movie that I would do. Just a survival horror movie, something like that. But I've not really given it much thought as to what movie I would make, so I'm not entirely sure. Iron Warrior has given a $2 super chat. Let me just write that down. Wow, wow, Jake, the MVP for chats. Christmas plans? Jake the MVP. What's the MVP stand for? I feel like it'll be very obvious once I look it up, but it's just something which is not immediately coming to me. Most valuable player. It also means minimum viable product. That's what it says here. That is not what it means here. Yeah, Jake is insanely generous when it comes to giving super chats, and slightly insane as well. But I mean those in the nicest way. Christmas plans, yeah, just chill with the family, watch some Christmas movies, have some Christmas cookies or Christmas food, you know, all that kind of stuff. Nothing really different from what other people do. Jake says, I'll think about it. Think about what? Did I answer a question, or did you say to someone, respond to someone else? LG Jordan says, are you biased in some of your Versus videos? I wouldn't say is the word biased. Maybe in some. No, I try not to be biased. I was going to say, maybe it would seem in some that I am. But the thing is, I do judge the movies based on my opinions. So, no, when it comes to Versus videos, I try not to be. But it is hard when it comes to, like, describing opinion, and then people say, are you being biased? Like, when I talk about the MCU humor, for example, in an MCU movie. Of course, that comes down to my opinion. Do I have a bias with that MCU humor? Well, once they start to continuously keep doing it, then yes, I start to get sick of seeing it. So then, in that sense, yes. But the movies, when I pit them together and I write up the individual concepts and like the individual aspects, no, then I'm not biased. I always try to be, but at the same time, I'm not judging the movie based on what everyone else thinks. I'm basing it off of what I think. So, at the same time, you could say the whole video is biased because it's based on my own opinions. Am I rooting for one particular movie over the other, though? No, I'm usually basing it off of my opinions, and some of my opinions have actually changed on movies. Like, I remember I gave Spider-Man 2 a 7 out of 10 in the Versus video that I did, but now I give it an 8. So if I could retroactively go back and travel back in time and change some of the stuff around that Versus video, it would have been more favourable. Iron Warrior goes $2 super chat. Thank you very much again for the super chat. He goes, Mission Impossible 7 or Across the Spider-Verse? That is a good question. For now, I'll say Across the Spider-Verse. I do need to see Mission Impossible 7 again. I've seen Spider-Verse again. It came on Netflix. But I need to see Mission Impossible 7 again. And that has not come on Netflix. Probably because they want to put it on Peacock or something. Jake says, thought he was a king. Thought he was a king. My Christmas plans since he mentioned me. My bad. Jake, you just confused me. I'm looking, I'm like, what did I say? Oh, it's alright. We'll draw a line under that, shall we? Let's see. Do you think you'll watch Wonka? From my experience working last night, I think it will break $1 billion. You think it... Arathorn, you think it will break $1 billion? Maybe if people don't have any other movie to see during Thanksgiving and they just want to go to see a movie. Maybe then. But otherwise, I don't think so. And yeah. Yeah, I don't know. The movie looks too silly to me. Really, it does. And we also had, what was the British actor who's in the movie? Who plays the Oompa Loompa? Richard Grant, was it? He talked about the movie being a horrible experience. I don't know if he actually meant it, or if he is saying that because he knows he's probably going to get the grunt of the criticisms about playing a little person as opposed to casting a little person. So he's trying to, like, you know, like, just soften the blow by saying I didn't enjoy it. But yeah, I don't think the movie will make $1 billion. The only way it will make $1 billion is if people have nothing else to watch, and that's what they want to see. But I don't think it's going to get $1 billion. But interesting to speculate, nonetheless. Let's see. Do you think Doctor Doom will be a great villain? I've heard the rumor is that they're trying to cast Cillian Murphy as Doctor Doom, the MCU are. But to see him go from being a great scarecrow in Nolan's Batman movies and see him being in Oppenheimer to getting a crappy script from Marvel these days, it'll be a waste of his talents. I would say cast him in something else, but not that. Worried sick. Will you watch Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire and make a versus/review? I'll probably make a verse. Yeah, I guess I probably will. The Godzilla vs Kong versus Godzilla X Kong. I could see myself doing that. Probably, yeah, I'll probably do that. But I have to see the movie first. Let's see. Topher Lloyd, what kind of question was that? Says no. What if a fat person played Eddie Brock? Then a fat person played Eddie Brock. It's just, you're just changing something about the character. It'd be funny though if Venom somehow turned a fat guy or a fat version of Eddie Brock into a very buff version of Eddie Brock. That would be funny. It is such a random thing though. I will say that, Topher Lloyd. That is a very random thing. If he's a fat guy, he's a fat guy. Angelo goes, video ideas. Jaws versus Megalodon. That's a Megalodon? Jaws versus Megalodon, Jaws versus Megalodon, and Grinch versus A Christmas Carol. Yeah, that is Grinch versus A Christmas Carol. Yeah, they're both kind of like people that are... The Grinch and Ebenezer Scrooge are both kind of like the Grinches of their movies, aren't they? Yeah, that would not be bad. Let's see. I don't think I'd be doing that though, because I've not really seen any of the Christmas Carol movies. I remember when I was younger I had the Muppets one, liked the opening of it, the opening musical number, but then it got boring after that, and it was none other than Alfred, Michael Caine, playing Ebenezer Scrooge in that. Let's see. Video ideas. Jaws was... No, I've already read that. What was the other question that I got? Oh yeah, Topher Lloyd, I've answered your question. Please don't post that one again now. That's I think we've gotten all our mileage out of that one. There's another question here as well. Oh, there, George Phillips. What is the best Rowan Atkinson movie/show? The best Rowan Atkinson movie, I would say, is probably his Mr. Bean movie from Being the Ultimate Disaster movie. That was in the 90s. Was it 97? Love that movie. I saw that a couple years ago, and me and my brothers and sisters, and it was... When it was over, I was sad. I didn't want it to end. It was a 10 out of 10. The soundtrack in that movie is also amazing. The whole sequence where he's fixing Whistler's mother. Jeez, like that music. How do they make that music so epic for someone who's just painting? You know, like just trying to like sort out a painting. Puts in a poster instead of that ugly old bat that he says. So yeah, the Mr. Bean movie, I love that one. The Mr. Bean's Holiday was nothing special. Had a couple of good moments, but nothing special. But that's my favorite movie of his. Favorite show? Blackadder. Blackadder is a fantastic show. The first season, I didn't even really watch that because I heard it's not that good, but Blackadder Season 2 was good, Season 3 was great, and Season 4 was great. And the Christmas Carol Blackadder movie, the Christmas special of Blackadder, hilarious. One of my favorite Christmas specials, that. It's basically doing the Christmas Carol, but it's doing it in reverse. That story. I'll just leave it to you with that. It's really funny how Ebenezer Scrooge is just such a wonderful man in this version, and then he changes into a horrible person. That was so hilarious. Blackadder is one of my favorite shows, my favorite comedy sitcom shows. Eric, would you review Welcome to Derry when it comes out in Max? Yes, I would. I would review it. Without a doubt, I would definitely like to review that. Jake goes, thoughts on Over the Hedge and Flushed Away. Those are movies that were so long ago. I can't even remember, Jake. That was like so long ago. Over the Edge, I think I thought it was alright. And Flushed Away, I think I might have liked it, but I can't remember. George Phillips goes, when Blackadder punched Shakespeare. Yeah, that is funny. When he goes, That is for Kenneth Branagh making a 4-hour-long version of Shakespeare that we all had to sit through. And Shakespeare's like, "Who's Kenneth Branagh?" And then he's like, "I'll tell him you said that. He would not. I don't think he would be impressed. I think he would be very upset." And then it turns out that Shakespeare got depressed and he didn't end up being the great poet and writer that we know. And instead, he ended up being like the creator of the ballpoint pen because Blackadder traveled back in time and left the pen with him. That was funny. Oh, that was great. Adam Grunther, a $2 super chat. Favorite scene in Across the Spider-Verse? That's a very good question. There's a lot of great scenes. My favorite scene is the one when... Oh, there's too many good scenes. I love the scene with Miles and his mother, when his mother talks to him before sending him off to go after Gwen. Even though Gwen should have been long gone at that point, and he still managed to catch up to her. So weird, that. That was the one weird thing in that movie. Let's see. But the favorite scene that I think is when Miles is being explained about the canon. I think that's a beautiful scene. The visuals, the imagery, the Easter eggs, the music was great as well. The building of tension when Miles realizes what's happening and he goes through this whole little arc. It was beautifully done. That was fantastic. That was so good. That was. So yeah, I'd say that scene is one of my favorite scene in the movie. Let's see. The Chili Dog Vendor. Which DreamWorks sequel is your favorite? Which DreamWorks sequel is your favorite? Kung Fu Panda 2, Shrek 2, or How to Train Your Dragon 2? Shrek 2. Then How to Train Your Dragon 2 and Kung Fu Panda 2. I like Kung Fu Panda fine, but it doesn't stand a chance to Shrek and How to Train Your Dragon, in my opinion, personally. Topher Lloyd, have you seen Spectacular Spider-Man? Yes, I have. My younger brother, he loves it, and he tried to get me into watching it, and I did. It was a good show. I just didn't like the animation. It was too flat and too basic. And I actually said it looks like it lacked color. And because it lacked color, I had to use... We were watching on the VLC player on my Mac. And what I did was I upped the saturation a little bit just to make it look more colorful, because it just looked so lacking in color before. Jake DeBrune goes, favorite scene in Kingsman? It's that scene in the first movie where... I've only seen the first movie. The scene where everyone goes crazy in that church. That was a great scene. I gotta say, though, Samuel L. Jackson with that lisp in that movie, it kind of drove me insane. It's because I was so used to hearing Samuel L. Jackson speak, and to hear him do that, it was kind of annoying. I was like, just speak like Samuel L. Jackson, man. Speak, like yell, shout, whatever. But whenever he does that lisp and he always slows down, I'm like, man, this is like... If you're used to Samuel L. Jackson's frequency at how fast he speaks, and then you see him struggling, in my mind, I was like, I don't know why, I just can't deal with that. It's like, I can just tell he's putting on that lisp. His character was funny, though, in that. Jake DeBruin goes, favorite scene in Wonder Woman 2017? Oh. What was my favorite scene? Favorite scene is interesting that I can't really immediately think, because a favorite scene should instantly come to you, and there should be several amazing scenes or favorite scenes. The best scene, I would say, is when Wonder Woman goes up over No Man's Land. I'd say probably that one. But another favorite scene is the little warehouse fight they try to do. They try to give her a warehouse fight, kind of like how Ben Affleck's Batman did in Batman vs. Superman. Maybe that scene as well. So that's probably what I think. Batman's Gamer. Name the best Samuel L. Jackson movie. The best Samuel L. Jackson movie. Which one? He's got many movies, but which one would I say is like my favorite go-to Samuel L. Jackson movie? The Negotiator. Love that movie. When I think Samuel L. Jackson, where he has to hold the whole movie and he's vulnerable and all that stuff, he was the lead in that movie, and it was a great movie. Even Kevin Spacey was in that. Despite what we know about Kevin Spacey later, he was also great in that. Jacob goes, favorite scene in The Dark Knight. In The Dark Knight, I know that's your favorite movie. It is my favorite movie. I've got so many favorite scenes in that film, and I'd say the best scene is the interrogation room scene between Batman and Joker. So many other great scenes, but I'd say that is a big one, especially when Joker starts laughing and he knows he's got the upper hand on Batman in the prison cell, and Batman keeps punching him, and that normally would be enough to get the bad guys to talk, but Joker just laughs. It just goes to show that Batman, that's his only tool in his toolbox, and it's not working. He's beating Joker up, and Joker's not talking. If anything, he's laughing at him. He's taunting him. He's enjoying it. This is some kind of villain that I've never faced before, is what Batman's thinking. Like, this is not how it's supposed to go. But there's such a panic in that scene, so I would say that is great. Gregory, I don't know if I can give you my top 10 Pixar movies, because off the top of my head, I can't remember that. That's why you make top 10 list videos for videos on YouTube. I can't just do that on the spot. But I will say Toy Story 2 Toy Story 3 was my favorite Pixar movie. And then we got Toy Story 2, and we also have like Monsters Inc. on there somewhere, and there's a lot of great Pixar movies. Gregory goes, do you have any problems with the Dark Knight trilogy? All 3 movies. Yes, I do. Dark Knight, I don't think I really have any problems with that. If I do, they're so minute, and I have to go over it again and try to find it. Batman Begins, the only problem I have with the movie that the action scenes are a bit more on the shaky cam side for the hand-to-hand action scenes. Nolan did try to fix that in The Dark Knight and Rises, which he did. But the only thing I really you could say I didn't like about the first Batman Begins is that I think the second half of the movie was not as interesting as the first half of the movie. But still, I gave that movie, was it an 8 or a 9 out of 10? Like a 9 out of 10? I gave Batman Begins an 8 out of 10 for the longest time, but watching it again for that last Versa video I did, I think I then gave it a 9. And The Dark Knight Rises, people have problems with it. I still love it. I love the filmmaking, I love the atmosphere of the movie, love the characters, love the action. I liked Bane a lot as well. You can make fun of his voice, and I don't think his voice was great, but I can look past it. And the movie never felt like 2 hours and 45 minutes to me. I remember when I saw it in the theatre, I was like, wow, this does not feel like 2 hours and 45 minutes. Topher Lloyd says, now who's the spammer? Who's spamming? Okay, I pranked my teacher and ran super fast. Is this a new viewer? I don't remember having a viewer name this, or do you just change your username? But please don't spam. I've said do not spam. I said you can do it 3 at a time, but you're doing many. I don't like to normally ban people, but if you do spam, I probably will be forced to, so please do not, because I don't take pleasure in banning people. So if you want me to answer your question, I will, and I allow people to spam 3 times max, but that has to be it, okay? Now let's see. Will you play GTA 6? And it sucks. It comes on 2025. Well, the last GTA game that I played, and I have not played a single GTA game all the way through because they just seem to be so long, but the one that, and I get too distracted with the free roam because it's so much fun, but the one that I have played mostly through was Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories for the PSP. Hold on a second. Here it is. Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories for the PSP. This is like, was it the second game I bought for my PSP back in the day? This is the game that if I can get rid of those reflections, those pesky reflections. This is the game that I used to play a lot on my PSP. And it was a really fun game. This is the one I got through the most, and I had them play the most time on it. It had amazing cheat codes on it as well. This was so much fun. This is the game that I played a lot. And what's happening to the chat? The chat froze up on my other one. I couldn't see you guys talking. But yeah, oh, there we go. It's caught up. So yeah, no, I loved, let's see here. Yeah, I loved Grand Theft Auto, but yeah, I've never played it all the way through. So, let's see. What's going on? Are people getting angry here? This is something new that's happened on the stream. Let's stop this argument. Okay. No spamming, alright? Prank my teacher, you have stopped, which is good. And will I play GTA 6? Probably not. I know I'm not going to finish it. It's not going to be worth it for me, so no, I'm not going to. But anyone else who does, I hope you enjoy it, but it's not for me. Okay, so yeah, no more. Just to put it out there, everyone. Yeah, I know. No, it does look like it's a drama. I've only allowed people to spam 3 times. Nothing beyond that. All right, that's always the limit. Let's see. Rohan says, would you want the MCU Spider-Man 4 director to be Sam Raimi or the Russo brothers? Sam Raimi, of course. I don't want the Russo brothers touching Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. That belongs to Sam Raimi. Give him full creative control, and I am sure he can do a great job. Oh, my game's got a little bit of a scratch or a dent on it. When did that happen? Sorry, I'm just taking a look. I just noticed. I always pride myself in taking care of my stuff, so I'm surprised this managed to get a scratch on it. Oh, that's a shame. Anyway. Let's see. Will you watch The Boys Season 4? Of course I will. And I'll do a Let's Watch of it on my Patreon so you can see my reaction to it. Let's see. That's the idea, at least. Unless we come up to the time when I feel like I want to watch it on my own. We'll see what happens. Let's see. So we're approaching 2 hours on this stream. Let's see here. Okay, what we'll do is we'll spend 5 more minutes on the stream, and then we're going to... I'm going to end it. So, any more questions? Post your questions. Any questions, super chats, anything you want to do, post it. I'll start answering it, and I'll do this rapid fire. Yako the Fiery Muto. Oh, Eric, what do you think of Sushi, if you have watched it? I have not watched it. Jake De Bruin goes, Scott Pilgrim was deemed too inappropriate for Lego, but apparently Friends and Big Bang Theory are okay. Well, Scott Pilgrim did get a bit edgy, but then again, it's been a while since I've seen it, so I don't really know if I'm the best judge. Friends of Big Bang Theory, yeah, but they didn't really get too edgy. They had limits. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Oh, no, says, Eric, I was talking about Tom Holland Spider-Man 4. Oh, that's what you're talking about, that Spider-Man 4. Oh yeah, then yeah, bring the Russo brothers in. They hired Tom Holland in the first place. They clearly had a better idea of what to do with his character, but then these other people came in, and they just dumbed it down from what the Russo brothers initially intended. You're tearing me apart, Lisa. What is your favourite thing about the Five Nights at Freddy's movie and overall opinion on the movie? Well, if you want to see my full opinion and my full review and my full reaction to the movie, to the majority of the movie, watch my Patreon. Go to my Patreon for that. But I did... What was part of your question? George Phillips says you got your Steam Deck and the speakers are fine. That's great. That's fantastic. Favorite thing about the movie. My favorite thing about the movie was one death scene that looked kind of cool, but it was half bad in its execution. It's when someone gets chopped in half. No, I take it back. The best thing about the movie is the performance of the guy that played Stu in Scream. His performance I thought was great. He was the best character. Even though I have questions as well about it. And let's see. The movie itself I was not really into. I really wasn't, so yeah. That was my overall opinion on the movie. I thought they could have done a lot better with what they had. Now, let me see. There was another question here from one of you. Akin Whale goes, please notice it is my third time. Is there hope for Disney if Deadpool 3 flops? There's always hope, but I would say if Deadpool 3 flops, they might as well just give up and reboot everything. Because at that point, you've screwed up. If you can't make Deadpool 3 good, you've got no chance. You might as well just give up hope at that point. Because there's no way you can screw that up. That sells itself, and it's based on a franchise that they had nothing to do with. So they have not put any work into building that up. George Phillips, I'm glad you're enjoying your Steam Deck I hope you're enjoying your Steam Deck as well, and I'm glad that the speakers are not giving you a problem, because to me they were a bit tinny. I didn't like the words of the voice of the dialogue from some of the characters. Well, across the board, I didn't like the speakers of it, but they have gotten better. I've found a fix for mine. I just got to do it every time, which is a bit annoying. Shrek. Oh, for 5 minutes, could you not be yourself? For 5 minutes! That's in response to me saying I've got 5 minutes left on the stream. Yeah. Let's see. Why do you do your Rohan goes, why do you do your Let's Watch videos and trailer reactions and game show on Patreon but not YouTube? Well, trailer reactions get all kinds of crazy copyright claims on YouTube, and it causes issues for the algorithm, and it does not look good on my channel if they're public and they get copyright claims. So I make them unlisted, and they're just on Patreon, and they're for the $1 perk, so that's a very, cheap way of putting it on there. And the game show is because I wanted to give value to those that are paying for the $5 perk on my Patreon. And my Let's Watch videos cannot be done on YouTube, because if they were, they would be edited to crap. You would not see me looking at the footage very much, and it would just be a very stilted way of making the video. I can't imagine you guys would really enjoy that much. I have been thinking of doing very cut down versions of Let's Watch on YouTube, and then if you want to watch the full version, you can go over to Patreon. I will leave that possibility open, but everyone who's watching stuff on my Patreon, they get the access to it in the way that I really intended. So that's why. Now, Topher Lloyd, are you asking a question at all here? It says that you wanted your question answered. I don't see a question though. Velka, I don't know how I felt bad for Kraven in Marvel Spider-Man 2 when he died, especially after all the things that he did. Yeah, he was a very evil character. Also, do you think Spider-Man 3 is a good movie overall? Which Spider-Man 3? No Way Home or Raimi's Spider-Man 3, Gregory? Which one? Diddy Kong is kinda underrated character, says Jake. I don't know too much about Diddy Kong. I've just seen him a little bit here and there. I know more about Donkey Kong. Topher Lloyd says, what if Venom was a horror movie? Well, I wanted it to be a horror movie a long time ago, but Sony decided not to do that. Jake has a very interesting question. He goes, how do I deal with copyright claims? They're the most annoying thing I have to deal with on YouTube. Don't want to cut stuff out though. Can I replace footage? You can, but here's a tip that I've got. If you're using footage from a movie, in my reviews at least, what I've learned is that if you use about 10 seconds, that is the maximum. If you go above that, maybe, but try not to. That's when the censors tend to come in. So keep your clips at like 10 seconds a piece. That usually helps. Scared Driffy goes, have you heard of The Amazing Digital Circus? And please watch it. Really good. No, I've not heard of it. I'll keep it in mind. George Phillips, on Steam Deck, what did you map your back buttons to on Arkham City? I don't think I've mapped them on Arkham City, but I have mapped them with the Spider-Man Remastered. With L4, I made that dive. So instead of pushing in the left click, the left analog stick to dive a Spider-Man, you just press the back button to dive, so that way you don't push the analog stick in, because I've never felt good doing that. I'm sure I could handle it, but I just always thought it felt like I would break it over time. And the back paddle on the right side, the R4, I made that the scan button, so it scans the environment for missions and everything, so I did that. Arkham City, I've not really done it, but if I did I know what I did it with one thing. I did it with R3. I made that Batman zoom in view. When you zoom in, I did that. That's what I did with that. But the others, no, I don't think there's really a need to change it. But it depends what game you're playing, though. That's what it depends on. Yeah, Valko, Vilka, I've answered your question with regards to that. You don't need to post it anymore. The Chili Dog Vendor. Has there ever been a villain who scared you as a kid? For me, it was the Shredder. A villain that scared me as a kid. Well, Darth Vader was pretty intimidating with how he would try to strangle people, like choke people to death. I thought that was a very painful way to go. Jess says, Emo Peter Parker had a funny dance in Spider-Man 3. Yes, he did have a funny dance. McKinney's Movies. What do you make a video about Kraven the Hunter and Madam Web trailer? I made a video about the Madam Web trailer. I didn't make one about Kraven the Hunter, although I have considered going back and trying to do a video on my Patreon about Kraven, because I didn't react to that trailer reaction at the time. I can't remember the reason why. I think I was busy or something. But yeah, that's basically... we'll see if I try to go back to do that. But yeah, if you want to see my reaction... If you want to see my reaction to... what was it? If you want to see my reaction to the Madam Web trailer, it's on my Patreon. You can see it. Gregory, I did answer your question earlier. You said, do you think Spider-Man 3 is a good movie overall? Then I says, which one? The Raimi one or the Tom Holland one? Because they both had it. But if you're talking about Raimi Spider-Man 3, then yes, I do think it's a good movie. I don't think it's a great movie. I think it's a very problematic movie. Got a lot of issues, but I still liked it. Did I finish Spider-Man 2? Yes, I did. I've got the Versus video, which I'm writing the script on. I've only got the last 2 segments to write the script on, and they're already written. I just need to go in and perfect them and clean them up if there's a bit too much stuff going on. Let's see. Thoughts on the animatronics from the Five Nights at Freddy's movies? I thought they looked high quality, the animatronics in the Five Nights at Freddy's movies. So they did those very well. Rohan goes, Eric, I just subscribed to your YouTube channel. Oh, thank you very much. Are you a new subscriber? If so, welcome to the channel. But I swear I've seen your name on my live streams before. Maybe you just hadn't subscribed, but thanks very much for subscribing. I really appreciate it. Batman's Gamer. I have looked for an equal, one who could push me, one who could surprise me, one who could even beat me, yet all I found is disappointment. Will one of you finally give me what I desire? What reference is that? I've looked for an equal who could push me. Sorry, one who could push me. Did I say one who could punish me? That is a completely different kettle of fish. That I have looked for an equal, one who could push me, one who could surprise me, one who could even beat me. Yet all I found is disappointment. Will one of you finally give me what I desire? I'm not entirely sure what reference. Is that a Batman reference? I don't know. It felt like it trailed off a bit afterwards. No, says Eric, are you ignoring me? I'm not ignoring everyone. No, I've read a lot of your questions now in a lot of your chats in here. What did you ask? This is why I say if you do super chats, it's easier. It's hard for me to see all of these questions. Here's your question, no. Eric, what movie is better, The Batman or Across the Spider-Verse? You gave both of those movies a 9 out of 10, so I'm very curious. To be honest, I like Across the Spider-Verse more. Yeah, to me, it's Batman. I'm sorry, I love Miles Morales, but the Batman as a character to me, I just like the shit he has to go through and what he has to deal with. I just enjoy it so much more. So him, I would go with Batman. Do you think Avengers 5 will be good? I genuinely don't think it will. Because in order for Avengers 5 to be good, you need to get all those characters together and put them in a movie, but no one cares about those characters. So, no, I don't think it will be good, but that's a Marvel problem there. I don't know why a couple people in the chat today thought that I've been trying to ignore them. I mean, you guys know me at this point. I try not to ignore any of your questions. Moon Knight should have had the same tone as the Batman. Yeah, it should have had a much darker tone. That was Marvel's chance to show us what they had. And they pussed out at the last second. You're tearing me apart, Lisa goes, one last question. Have you seen A Haunting in Venice? I think it's one of Branagh's best movies. Third time, don't worry, I won't spam anymore. That's okay. I haven't seen it, but it's on Disney Plus. I intend to see it. But I want to be comfortable when I see it. I don't want to feel like I've got a lot of work to do and stuff, because that doesn't make me feel as comfortable. I want a bit of time off to sit and see that, but I will try to see that before the end of this year, to see if it ends up in my top 5 best or top 5 worst list, or if it doesn't end up in either of those. Regardless, I do want to see that. I genuinely do. George Phillips go, will you boycott Scream 7 even if Sydney comes back? Yes, I will. I'm not paying for that movie after what they did. No, says Eric, in quotes, okay, 5 more minutes. I know, I said 5 more minutes. How long has it been? 12? I keep saying I enjoy talking to you guys, and it ends up happening that way. Have you seen Death in Paradise? No, but I've heard of it. And by the way, A Haunting in Venice is a movie that I did like the previous two. I didn't love them, but I enjoyed sitting through them. They're a good watch. They're a good thing to watch for free, especially on the projector. If I could see that, then that's what makes me feel like, yeah, it's worth seeing. So I enjoy watching them. I always do come away thinking that, yeah, that was worth a watch. Batman's Gamer got in a super chat towards the end. That quote reference was in the Spider-Man 2 announcement trailer. Craven said that back in 2021 trailer. Yes, that's where it was from. It sounded like such a familiar thing to me, but how could I miss that? That's such a... Well, we'll talk about all kinds of things, so maybe that's why. Let me see if I can find that quote of yours again, where you put it. No, I can't find it. It doesn't seem like... That's a shame, but... Yeah, if I saw it again, I'd like to see it again this time knowing that. But yeah, the hunt and all that, try to push me. That is such a Craven thing, isn't it? Finally, someone donated. Thanks, Batman Gamer, said no. Yeah, I always say the donations always help. They really do. Like, you know, so... Okay, what, 2 hours, 14 minutes? I'll get to 2 hours and 20, then I'll stop it, and I mean it this time. So 6 more minutes. And I mean it this time, I swear. I just have such a fun time talking to you guys. McKinney's movies. Do you like Hulk 2003 or Incredible Hulk better? I like The Incredible Hulk better, without a doubt. I like both of them. If you were to ask me now, which of their musics do I prefer, like their main Hulk theme, I don't know what to say. They are both so good, and they both fit The Incredible Hulk so well. But I don't know which one to choose, but I love this main theme of both of them. No, says new meme. Okay, 6 more minutes. Well, maybe. That could be a new meme. Batman's Game said, I got you, Eric. Yeah, thanks. Do you think The Rock would do well as Bat? No. No. He'll think he's acting intimidating when really he's just being Black Adam. You know, The Rock. No, you replied $7.99. I don't know why. What you mean by that. Anyway. What movie do you love that loads of people hate? What movie do I love that lots of people hate? I don't know, because the movies that people hate, I usually like them at best. I don't love them. Like, for example, Shazam 2, I liked. A lot of people didn't. What was the other? The Flash, I liked. A lot of people didn't. So I like these movies, I don't love them. Yako the Fiery Muto goes, what do you think of Hulk 2003's score by Danny Elfman? I liked it. I liked the Hulk themes. When it got a bit foreign later, when Hulk was jumping in the desert. That was weird. I didn't think that fit. I thought that was weird. It was a... Oh, no, says it was a joke. I want to donate, but I'm broke. Okay, fair enough. That's alright. Batman's Gamer said to no, that's heartbreaking. Yeah, it is sad. It's okay. I hope you... I wish you all the best, buddy. I was like that as well a time ago. It gets better. It does, don't worry. Just gotta find something you're interested in, and then just focus all your energy onto it. Even if you do have to rough it as well. It does get better. What are your most... Sad Blue Robot goes, what are your most anticipated movies of 2024? Give us at least 5. Alright, Deadpool 3, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Joker 2 is coming out next year. I think that's all I've got. I don't know. What other movies are coming out? Comment and tell me. What other movies are coming out? What other movies are coming out next year? Jake says, did you look into Valley Girl, by the way? Yes, I did. I forgot to mention it, though, on the stream, because it wasn't the right time, I thought. Yeah, Nicolas Cage was in it. That's why it sounded familiar, because Nicolas Cage was in the movie. So, yeah, I don't know how you can replace Nicolas Cage in the new one. I've not looked into the new one. But, yeah, that was, 1983. We're back in his younger days. Oh, yeah, Godzilla X Kong is the new Empire is another one. Garfield? No, not really. Did Judge Doom scare you as a kid? Who's Judge Doom? Do you mean Judge Dredd? No, it's Judge Dredd. Victor Von Doom, are you trying to say? I don't know who Judge Doom is. So I've given you 4. What's the another movie coming out next year? Let's take a look. Sonic 3 is also next year. Alright, then Sonic 3 as well. There you go. I personally think Alec Baldwin will play a great old Batman. What do you think? Nah, I don't see Alec Baldwin as a good Batman. You just, look, with Batman, you just have to see it in their face. You got to see him as Bruce Wayne. I don't see that in Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin always seemed a bit too grumpy to me to play Batman, and not in the Batman grumpy kind of way, but in a different kind. Alec Barton 313 says, what do you think of the movie Wish? I haven't seen the movie Wish. I don't care to see the movie Wish. Vilka says, imagine what Carnage can do in Insomniac's Spider-Man games. Yeah, I can imagine. They did tease it in the Spider-Man 2 game, so we'll see when it comes. Maybe it'll happen in that Venom spin-off game. Judge Doom and Who Framed Roger Rabbit, right. Yeah. Yeah, he was freaky. I didn't want to admit it, but there was something very hell-like about his character. Like he had just come from the depths of Looney Tunes hell. So, yeah. Yako the Fire Muto goes, I love that new Godzilla design. Raise your hand if you think Eric makes better jokes than the MCU by far. I don't even make jokes very often. I do make them sometimes, but they don't come to me as often. But maybe that's something that Marvel should learn. When the jokes don't come to me, I don't decide to just make one. Which is not what they do. If there's no jokes that come to them, they still try to make one, and it's not funny. Who remembers vegetarian or beef at the airport? That was so stupid, that was. Oh, Yako has also raised his hand. Not very many other hands out there. Should I raise my hand? Yeah, Rohan, I already said Deadpool 3. I already said Deadpool 3. That's one of my most anticipated movies of next year. Oh, there we go. Some more hands are coming up into the chat now. Have you seen Not Going Out with... Where did that go? Oh, like, I got a lot of thumbs up and hands up now. Man, a lot of people are now raising their hands. Oh, Captain, my Captain. Oh, there you all are. Orangutan, thank you very much for joining the hands. Rohan says, your last live stream you told that lady to shut up or you're gonna kick her out of the cinemas. That was funny. Yeah, I know I did. I said that. That was about 2 live streams ago, wasn't it? So I think another one happened then. So Batman's Gamer goes, laugh every time Eric makes fun of Marvel jokes. Jake goes, hands up if a video of a squid swimming is funnier than most of MCU's jokes. Although poor squid, what did the squid do? That should be, well, that we should be laughing at it. Captain Eric, lead us to victory. Yeah. Oh, you guys are funny too. Funnier than any of these MCU jokes. Akinwell goes, I cannot the hand. That's okay. I'll take that as a hand up as well. Man, this really is like an oh Captain, my Captain moment. The chili dog vendor goes, what's your favorite type of water? Just regular water. Okay, guys, I think we're actually a minute past what I said there was going to be. So, thank you very much for joining the stream. I can see that you're all having fun. I was having a lot of fun too. Thank you very much for all the super chats. Jake, thank you very much for your super chats. Batman's Gamer, thank you very much for your super chats. All of you, thank you very much for your super chats. This has helped a great deal, and I really appreciate it. I love these live streams because it makes me feel like I get much closer to you guys, and really, it's like I'm not just chatting to you with comments. I'm chatting to you like this, and I really enjoy it. So thank you very much, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the live stream. This one did not go on for 3 hours, but it still went on for longer than I thought. Yeah, Angelo says it best. Eric, 5 more minutes left on the stream. Reality, 5 more hours on the stream. Although I will say, even I wouldn't go that far. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it, and I'll catch all of you, hopefully with much more stories to talk about in the next live stream. Thanks very much, and I'll see all of you very soon. Take care.